Good evening, League of Legends fans. Thank you for joining us here at Titan Esports, our Divinity League last week of the season. I am Zemanon, joined by Romeo, and we are here for Oftza versus Eclipsing Tides. And Romeo, both of these teams are 4-2 going into the last week of the regular season. So that means the winner of this match would be the second seed in Group B. So there is actually a lot on the line tonight.
Yeah, it is a monumental win for whatever team can pick it up, and that's what you want to see at the end of the season, right? Last season game before we go into playoffs, being able to get that second seed can be the difference between having an easy bout in the first round versus possibly getting eliminated in the first round, right? Third, you're going against sixth. If you can find that second place finish off this game, you're going against the seventh place team in the league, which is what you want to see here.
Yeah, and then just looking quickly at the other standings, PF and Forces are 6-0. So, I'm actually, I don't know how their game went this week, but obviously they are locked in Group B of the Divinity League for that first overall seed. And the other team trying to be in the playoffs is Eden's Snapdragons. They're also 4-2, but they have less game wins on their record. So that would be the differing factor between these teams on who gets the second seed overall. And we actually did see Oftza last week as well as the stream matches. Daz and I got to be a part of there, and everyone pour one out for Daz. He's not here this weekend because he's off in a better place, and that place is on a plane leaving Canada right now because he was casting Pokemon in Vancouver this weekend. So he'll be here. He'll be here for the, hopefully for the next one. But right now, that's what we got Romeo here for. But last week, as I look at the schedule, it was Oftza beat CB Fallen on stream in a 2-1 victory. It was like really intense 45-minute matches, or like 7 dragons were claimed. It was really long, drawn out matches. So hopefully Oftza can take some of that momentum from last week to have that win on stream and then, pull it off again this week.
Now the question is that play style going to continue against Eclipsing Tide? From what it sounds like, they like to try to control those objectives. They like to extend the matches out if they can. Scaling picks probably would have been very, very nice last week. But against Eclipsing Tide, do you think we're going to be seeing a lot of aggressive play, or do you think once again it's going to be about controlling those objectives in like long, drawn out matches?
I don't know. It's a good question, because should it be a little more early game focused and objective focused? My opinion would be yes. I think that as we get into the draft here between Oftza and Eclipsing Tides, we can talk about it as they are getting ready. Romeo, I think a lot of the misgivings they had as a team last week, even though they won the series, where they were very passive. So I see they are on red side here for game one. I would love if Oftza is able to save that red 5 counter pick for something very aggressive in the solo lanes.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think right now counterpicking top has gone such a long way because of how bot focused this meta's been. Oftentimes you're seeing junglers constantly pathing towards that bot side, right? So really it's just whoever wins the top lane by themselves a lot of the time. So that counterpick is very, very influential.
Yeah, so Eclipsing Tides is blue side in this matchup here. Remember, it is a best of 3, so don't go anywhere, because we're going to have a long night ahead of us if these two teams, they are evenly matched since they have the even record, right? So we expect that this will go to a game 3, so it'll be very exciting if it does. Eclipsing Tides are going to ban out the Caitlyn and Tom Kench so far, and then just like general strong things from Oftza, Malphite and Lulu.
Yeah, right. Pretty well standard. Of course, seeing that dragon get taken down as well, I feel like if you don't take down that dragon, it's got to be your first pick. So if you're not planning on picking up the Asol, smart ban. And also, the Jarvan going is something I like to see. I think Jarvan is probably the strongest jungler in this patch, hands down.
Yeah, I actually saw someone in the Discord talking about playing lethality Jarvan tonight. So I don't think they're not going to get the chance, at least in game 1, right? Because Jarvan is banned. So unfortunately, we are not going to be able to see that interaction here. But obviously, Eclipsing Tides has a very important first pick here, and it is Nami. So unless Oftza snipes the Lucian, it's going to be a Lucian Nami bot lane potentially from the Tides, which Nami Tides makes sense.
I mean, once again, too, Lucian Nami, one of the strongest bot lane duos, even after the Electrocute nerfs we've seen last season. I feel like Lucian Nami still probably one of the strongest bot lane combos. The only one I kind of pair it with is like Caitlyn Lux is pretty pretty strong as well at the moment, but we're looking like we're seeing the Jinx pick, so that Lucian free to go if this gets locked in here. Yeah, it could very well be Lucian Nami for Tides.
Yeah, and they are hovering the Renata Jinx, who did just get buffed on this most recent patch. So she was kind of down in the dumps for the last couple of months after the Jinx meta last season. They had to kind of cut her kneecaps off, and they're slowly bringing her back up to meta relevancy. Renata is locked in, though. So what do you think of this Jinx Renata bot lane to counteract potential Lucian Nami?
I think it makes sense. I think the Renata ultimate can go a long way, especially against Lucian. I feel like he's one of the stronger champions you can use it against as an ADC. But overall, I'm still expecting Eclipsing Tide to kind of smash lane in the early game. And if they can try to find that advantage going into the mid game, it could be a large bot gap when we go into those mid-team fights. So it's definitely going to be something that I expect Off-Dazaz jungler to try to account for.
And Rise is locked in for the last pick before the second phase of bans for Eclipsing Tide. So that is a blind Rise pick if they're feeling safe, they're feeling comfortable, and they also like the scaling. If they were watching the stream last week and saw every one of Off-Dazaz matches going to 45 minutes, I think they'd like their chances with a Rise 45 minutes into the game there. But would have been curious to see that picked here now instead of maybe a priority in the jungle. And Diana's response from Off-Dazaz.
Yeah, Diana. Now, the thing that's interesting here is it could be Diana mid into Rise, which is a strong lane, or if they want, they can also take Diana to the jungle. I've started seeing that come slightly more prevalent. It's not often you see it, but it's definitely been getting a lot stronger as the junglers change from like a Maokai meta to like a Jarvan Vi meta.
Yeah, I think that could just be one of the smart things from Off-Dazaz in the casting, we're casting in the drafting. I'm dumb. In the drafting, it could just be a hesitation that Eclipsing Tides has to worry about, like you were mentioning, the potential flex. Even if the Diana was the intended jungler the whole time, you at least now have to make them worried. Okay, well, do we ban out junglers still, or do we ban out mid laners and we're wasting it? I think that's one of the nice things in this matchup. But I would expect like something frontline heavy on Eclipsing Tide's top laner, right? So maybe the Camille's banned, but something else. They've already banned Malphite as well. Do you toss a third top lane ban if you're Off-Dazaz?
I think honestly you might as well, although it looks like the Swain's gonna get dropped, which is interesting because where would that Swain even go? I guess it could be a Swain top, but I feel like that's not something you see too often, right? If you're Eclipsing Tide, I feel like you probably send another ban top lane as well, just because you don't have the counter pick. You don't really get the answer there. So I think I imagine this next ban's gonna be a top ban.
Yeah, and then we are, looking at the stats that Eclipsing Tides, their ADC, Easy, is actually statistically the best performing, not just ADC in the league, but the best performing player here in the Divinity League. So obviously there is a lot of priority given over to ET's bot lane there, and obviously that's something that Off-Dazaz is going to have to be prepared for coming into this game.
Now, I think that brings up two interesting things. A, if you know you're getting weak set on Eclipsing Tide, you could just pick a tank, something like Ornn, something like, I guess Malphite's spam, but like something like Ornn, right, where you can just kind of sit there and chill in your lane. Or you can pick something like Olaf, which is a champion that you can kind of just fend off by yourself and do a lot, even if you get ganked. I've seen so many Olafs, countlessly 2v1. So it's going to be interesting to see what side they go for. But of course, that Maokai being picked up, we have our answer for what's in the jungle.
Yep, so that is a lot of AP also. Unless the Maokai goes top lane at the last second there, you would have a double AP mid jungle synergy there. And Ornn is going to be locked in for Eclipsing Tides. That is what I was expecting to see. So I would have, I'm also curious with you, Romeo, what the Swain ban was for. Unless they really thought Swain top was coming out. I think the Ornn would have made a lot more sense, especially since you also banned Malphite. So there was the tendency to have the tank up top, but they are going to go with Nunu snowballing his way through the draft here for game one.
That's an interesting pick, right? They've kind of laid their cards on the table here with Nunu. I really expect that Nunu to just try to funnel the hell out of Lucian Nami, right? It really does feel like this game is being played around the bot lane of Eclipsing Tide, which makes sense with, again, how good their ADC is, especially stat-wise, right? it does just definitely feel like this is an entire team based around that Lucian Nami.
And it is Spy Kid's main. He is a big Nunu and Willem enjoyer, or Nunu and William, as I like to call them, as they put them in the patch notes sometimes. It's the Nunu and William. It's so funny. But this does scream to me, like you're saying, the bot lane priority. Just leave Ornn on an island, maybe visit Ryze occasionally, see what he's up to over in the mid lane. Don't want to lose too hard to the Diana there. But having a lot of roaming pressure or movement throughout the map from the Nunu, and Mordekaiser is the last pick there in the top lane. I know from a lot of experience playing Ornn that Mordekaiser is a dreadful matchup.
Yeah, it doesn't make things easy just because there's so many interactions where Mordekaiser bests you, and like the only advantage you have over him is if you time it perfectly, you could technically circumvent his ultimate with your unstoppable, but it's just such a hard thing to do overall. And of course, he's able to completely counteract Call the Forge God with his E if he's able to lock it in right. It's just a poke damage too, right? It's definitely heavily a top favored matchup for Off the Za. But the question I have, right, is if you're Maokai, is your goal to counter gank bot or to try to get that Mordekaiser as ahead as that Lucian might be?
Oh, that is a great question, because there's one. I guess it's like a glass half full, glass half empty kind of perspective, right? Is I can either win by stopping the Lucian and stopping their progress, or in a more positive, like a glass half full sense, I can win by promoting my own solo laner and my own Mordekaiser and making him more unstoppable than the enemy Lucian there. So I'm not sure what the correct answer is there, but I really like you posing that question.
Yeah, it's certainly something different. The problem with Mordekaiser, right, is that ultimate where even if you get him ahead, he can kind of just get taken out of the fight by trying to ult their most powerful target. The thing, though, is Lucian's one of those ADC where he has some range with his ultimate up, but a lot of the time he is kind of playing in your face, trying to dash around. And if he doesn't pay the QSS tax, there is a solid chance Mordekaiser might ult him in these fights, or ult the Nunu. And as a guy who's played the Mord-Nunu matchup in the jungle a few times, you're able to take down that Nunu relatively quick if you're ahead, and then you get Nunu stats with you, right? So it's going to be interesting to see what they elect to do. Now, also, if Maokai heads bot, there's a lot he can do as well, especially once he hits 6. But pre-6, I have a feeling that Lucian, Nami, and Nunu are going to just curb stomp Jinx or not on Maokai.
Yeah, I think that's the other thing, is there is a lot of pressure on the bot lane in Off to Za here, not only because obviously they're facing the best ADC in the league, statistically wise, but also there's a lot of AP on Off to Za's comp. So Jinx is the main AD source of damage in this matchup, and it's in what people would consider kind of a losing or a play from behind lane compared to the dominance of Lucian Nami. So if Jinx can kind of just like persevere through the lane phase, honestly, don't give up a bunch of the kills over to Lucian, and let's say Mordekaiser takes away that Lucian takes him to the death realm, that can be Jinx's moment to shine in the team fights.
Yeah, and if Jinx maybe if she can get out of lane 0-0, that is golden for Off to Za. Unlikely, but if she's able to, it's a huge thing for them, because that Jinx is going to scale. Once she starts getting 3 to 4 items, she's just going to kind of run the game unless that Lucian's already far ahead, right? On top of that, Jinx is one of those champions who, once you get excited, you can change the course of a team fight. It's just about getting to that point. So if she's able to just kind of hold steady and find a team fight where she can pop off, and there's kind of the Olaf effect where once you get a triple kill, you're running the game.
Yeah, and I remember last week, Project Crisis was the ADC on Off to Za. I'm pretty sure we gave Player of the Series in their matchup against CB Fallen, who just had 2 incredible ADC games in their 2 victories. So I think Project Crisis can somewhat match what Easy and Eclipsing Tides are able to do. And the Jinx, the newly buffed Jinx, like there's a lot of excitement, right, in the moment of playing a new AD carries. Like I remember a couple weeks ago when Xayah got those buffs, everybody in the Divinity League was spamming Xayah. So I think this can be very exciting to see Jinx Renata try to hold serve against Lucian Nami.
Yeah, and I think whether or not they can do that kind of determines whether or not Off to Za is going to win this game, right? I really expect to see a lot of early dragons as well from Eclipsing Tide. I think that's something we haven't exactly talked about too much. But when you have a Lucian Nami lane, especially with a Ryze who's going to just be trying to ult every fight he can, I think the dragon prio is heavily on Eclipsing Tide. And that also begs the question, when Rift Herald comes up, right? What are they going to do with it? Are they going to try to smash through that top lane, or are they going to try to, once again, use that to maybe break open mid and give Diana more of a chance? Because also, Diana's kind of a hidden piece off to Zaw, right? She's going to try to win lane against Ryze, which, although it's a melee into range, it's definitely, it still can be a very hard winning matchup. It's just, are they going to be able to with the threat of the new?
Yeah, and I think looking at that matchup of bot lane and to talk about the objectives as you're mentioning, Romeo, the bot lane synergy of Lucian Nami, Nunu getting the priority on dragons, top lane Mordekaiser and Maokai. I think I would probably take those two in the 2v2 at Rift Herald over Ornn and Nunu, right? I know it's a 2v2.5 since Nunu and Willem put it, whatever you want to call them there. But if they were to get the early Rift Heralds and the objectives up top for off the Zaw, I would actually like to see them use the Rift Herald in the mid lane to promote Diana, get her out of lane, as she is typically a jungler, right? She likes to move around the Rift and be able to have an impact in as many lanes as possible. So if you can blow mid open, then that leaves Diana potentially, where she can go up top and gank and help out Mordekaiser.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. It also makes Ryze have more of a punishment every time he uses that ultimate and leaves his lane with it, right? Every time he TPs away from that tower, to know that first tower's gone, and if they can find the opportunity where he's gone to use that Rift Herald, it just provides so much more pressure across that mid lane.
Yeah, and then, looking at how the season has worked out for Eclipsing Tides, they were actually here on broadcast in the first week of the season. They lost that matchup there. But ever since then, they've just been on a roll. They've been able to win most of their matches throughout the rest of the season here in the Divinity League, and being in such a spot to actually determine who gets this second seed there. So that's the consistent rise that the Tide has been on. You get it?
Games like this are always super fun, because when you see two teams with a ton of momentum going head to head, a lot of the times it isn't just a sit back and chill game. It's very heavily just two people stepping head to head and just smashing into each other over and over again. It's like a tsunami versus Snoop Dogg here, if you know what I mean.
I like that Romeo just like completely whiffed on my pun, and I just got to live with that. I hope Twitch chat appreciated it.
I'm sure
I hope
they
you
caught
guys appreciated it. Yeah, I would hope so. It's not like it was the most original pun in the world, but I'm sure
I liked it.
It's not the first time Eclipsing Tides have had those, water puns. I'm sure it's all over their team.
Yeah, well, compare them to a water type of Pokemon right now. Go.
Ooh, well, okay. Well, what are you looking for? What type of water Pokemon? Because there's a lot of them.
You're looking for like a like second best water Pokemon who has like a ton of momentum once they get the fight rolling.
Oh my god, that's tough. There are literally hundreds and hundreds of Pokemon there. So,
oh, come on.
I'd say maybe something like Melodic, which is like Melodic is a Pokemon that it's a water type. It's a lot of people's favorite Pokemon. It's a very cool design, evolves from Phoebus, really ugly, turned into a beautiful Pokemon. It's a cool design. But the thing competitively, we're talking about the competitive aspect, which is what you asked me for. It is a Pokemon that can really steamroll the competition if you are not prepared for it, right? So in some areas, it just gets the job done. It's not the greatest thing in the world. But if you give it some boost, it has an ability called competitive. If you try to lower its stats, it'll actually raise its special attack by 2 stages. So if you're not prepared for it, like if you're not prepared for Eclipsing Tides bot lane, they can just steamroll through the match.
I think that is the perfect Pokemon you could have compared them to, because they started off the season ugly, and now they're a beautiful young boy ready to roll through. If they're not ready to up to Zaw, they better have been lit up and ready to go, because this is sure to be one hell of a series for second place here. Now, I think we're going to go ahead and cut to break. I've broken them, and we will see you guys in about 30 seconds or 2 minutes, something like that, on the Rift. Don't go anywhere.
And welcome back, everybody. We are here for game one of this best of three between Eclipsing Tides and Off Dazah. The winner of this match will statistically most likely be the second seed in Group B going into playoffs. This is the last week of the regular season in the Divinity League. Zemanon and Romeo on the call for this best of three. I finally recovered from Romeo's humor right before the break. So this should be exciting. Off Dazah, let's see if they can win 2 weeks in a row on stream.
Yeah, it is going to be a sight to see if they can do it. Both these teams, once again, vowing for that second place position going into playoffs. You know this game has to be feeling intense for all 10 players on the Rift.
Yeah, and excuse me. So Kobe, a lot of times last week had some really carry picks like the Darius and Mordekaiser like he is here again. So I think that is something that is definitely going to be on the minds of Eclipsing Tides if they watched the stream last week or just looked at the stats of how much pressure was or how much importance was given over to the top lane in that best of three.
And I've heard the case made a lot of the times that in competitive, especially in like gold, plat, diamond, elo, it is so useful to have top laners who are good at playing champions like Darius, champions like Mordekaiser, champions that can really smash their lane. Because even if you're weak siding them, they still provide so much to the team in the sense that they can kind of force someone like Spy Kid to need to come top if they're able to like freeze that wave or just get a ton of poke damage on Unaware Idiot, right?
Yeah, and then looking, one of the things we actually didn't get to talk about in the bot lane, I was wondering what the summoner spells for Jinx would be. I was going to have a conversation with you on Exhaust or Heal or Ghost or, you know, whatever. And Project Crisis did go Exhaust. I think that is the correct decision here in this matchup.
Yeah, it definitely could be. I think it's really smart of Lucian to go Cleanse here, especially because it helps with a lot of the CC that he can get hit by, of course, and considering how this game's gonna go with champions like Maokai who are gonna be focusing bot lane. The Exhaust or Heal, I do think Exhaust is really good, especially into Lucian, so I'd consider it the correct call.
Yeah, and then just looking at some of the starting item choices, Ryze deciding to start Tier instead of a Doran's Ring, wants to start to stack as fast as possible on the Ryze in this matchup against the melee mid laner in Diana.
Yeah, I think, honestly, that's fine, too. As long as he can keep his range and not try to initiate too many fights and just do that poke thing that, you know, every Ryze loves to do. He should honestly... I think that tier will be more beneficial than something like a Doran's Ring.
Kohi is in the bottom lane. He's in the bush there, so they cannot see him yet. Obviously, just waiting, knowing that the Nunu should be around the same area, and in case he wants to roll into lane, he will be here to stop them. So Nunu has shown, Spy Kids has revealed that he is going to the bot lane, so if Maokai is going to stick around, he does reveal himself. Now Nunu has to walk away.
I don't know if they don't find something here, though. It's kind of not great for Maokai, considering he skipped his first camp, right? I think it is really on their team right now to find something, even if it's just securing that Scuttle Crab.
Gonna push Project Crisis out of lane, flashing as well. Spy Kids has to flash too, as there are three trying to push him down. He walks out to safety. That is a crucial summoner that is blown on Project Crisis and just looking like an even juicier target for this Lucian.
Yeah, I think overall, although they did secure Scuttle Crab, I think Eclipsing Tide can walk away from that trade happy. They burnt Jungle Flash, which I mean is definitely a summoner that's nice to have, but on Nunu it's not that crucial. For a Jungle Flash and a ADC Flash, which means next time Spy Kids comes bot, if Project Crisis and Nifty are pushing in, it should essentially just be a free kill for him.
Yeah, so you're going to have to be prepared for that, obviously, and see if anything happens in some of the other lanes there. Like in the top lane, we would expect Mordekaiser to just continue to push in Ornn. Ornn tries to, you know, farm under turret and just play safe. No, not really having anything too crazy happen up there. So if Maokai is able to maybe deliver first blood over to Mordekaiser, that might force Nunu's hand to defend the Ornn a little bit there. But Easy just does so much damage to Jinx early on.
They haven't found anything yet, but they have kind of made a statement with this bot lane just by how much pressure's been applied, and even with these long-term fights, but in mid lane here, a lot happening.
Yeah, value is really low. One more auto, and first blood handed over to Cam there, right onto the Ryze. That's going to be huge for them going later on into the game, all of that extra gold.
I gotta be honest, I wasn't expecting Bally to try to commit to that, but Ultimately, they did, and it kind of costed them, and that's going to make their lane a lot harder, especially considering the Rise started tier.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of just like evens it out, right? You tried to lose some of your early laning prowess by getting rid of your starting item for the tier there. Bally actually gonna try to QE over, but not do much as he sees the level 6 on Rise, and you know, Diana wasn't going to win that fight.
No, it's really unfortunate. I think Diana still has the upper hand on Rise, even more so now that they're level 6, because of course, Rise's ultimate doesn't really do anything in a one-on-one fight. So I do think it is kind of Bally's lane still, but they're going to need to find a kill on him here to make the Diana pick really worth it.
Yeah, so even on the farm, relatively, you know, obviously the kill is going to counteract that couple of CS lead that Diana has. The Balmy Cinder also purchased first on the rush from Diana, so looking like it might be close to that tank Diana that was popular at the end of last season. Oh, Moonfall is used though in the mid lane to try to push Rise away. Nunu with the gank down bot, but the Maokai is in the area at the right time. Twisted Advance is going to try to take down Spy Kids. He has to walk away. Is Kohi gonna die, or is he get out? He gets out safe, and now the bot lane on the blue side is gonna try to keep their jungle safe as he walks away.
I think that was a really nice counter gank from the Maokai. Really kind of just protected their bot lane. I think they were still probably out, but they got a lot of damage from the Nunu, and it also kind of circumvents a lot. Oh, wait a minute.
Oh, Nifty has to flash because one more auto would have been enough to kill the Renata there. So very, very smart use of flash, but now that crucial cooldown is down, and Bally's just going to continue fighting against Rise, but with that extra money that Rise had, it's just going to be tough. And also, since Diana is a melee champion into Rise as well, that also makes it very difficult if you're not fighting in the minion wave.
Yeah, and it feels like they keep trying to find these little maneuvers, but they're not able to find any fight that they're enjoying to commit to. And because of that, I feel like every time they take a fight that they can't commit to, they take such a punishment from a ranged champion like Rise.
Yeah, and then looking at Unaware Idiot, he is down in CS, has not given up his life yet though, so that is one benefit for Eclipsing Tides there against this Mordekaiser. Does get the EQ right as I kind of jinx him there, but he is just doing his job on Ornn.
When you hit him with the caster's curse. But no, he is still alive. It is still looking good for him. But surprisingly, it seems like it's going to be Eclipsing Tide picking up that first Rift Herald. We didn't expect that in draft considering how things are, and we were correct about assuming that the top lane of Optazah was going to be winning, but mid being behind has kind of cost them that Herald.
Yeah, so the first Herald has gone over. The first Dragon has not been taken actually though, so I thought there might have been some priority focus on the Dragon early game, especially with Nunu, but has not been taken yet, and the Nunu is out clearing his top side of the jungle, so it doesn't look like he'd be there anytime soon.
And of course, the first Dragon is Cloud Dragon. I know, I'm shocked too that nobody wants to go for the Cloud Dragon, right? But in the mid lane here,
oh no, Nifty missing the crucial skills there. If you're able to land those, that could have been a kill because Bally had ultimate up, and that would have been a dead Rise.
That's gotta hurt a little bit if you're Optazah, but overall, I think Optazah's kind of got to be happy with the way things have been going. Lucian's not that far ahead of the Jinx. Of course, it's still a 0-0 lane, and the only little bit of a difference here is on that Rise. Still no Mythics picked up or anything. Yeah, first Rift Herald's taken, but no Dragons taken, which I think that kind of favors Optazah.
Yeah, it is only a 900 gold lead-ish around there, so it's not like it's too big. Does look like there is some action potentially getting ready for this first Dragon, as there are 3 members of Optazah coming now, 4 if you count the Diana there, but the ultimate used on Nami's end there. Spike is going to try to hit, and the snowball actually lands onto Diana. Bally's able to QE out and then ult, but with the bailout, it's still not going to be enough. Rise getting yet another kill. Lucian flash forward for the kill. Jinx is down. That's two-handed over to Eclipsing Tides and the Cloud Dragon.
And I have to say, it was kind of an interesting decision to start that Dragon play. Yeah, they had Prio, but they didn't know where the Nunu was on that map. and I don't really think they can survive. Like, I understand what they want to do. They want to just try to hold that river. But Lucian's still a much stronger champ than Jinx this early in the game. And with Ryze being as ahead of Diana as he kind of is, it made that fight really hard. And they definitely paid for it. There's now a 2,000 gold gap from these two teams. There's still a lot of this game to go. Jinx still hasn't even hit first item yet. So there's still a lot to happen, but that's a big spike that Eclipsing Tide needed.
And now that CS is ballooning even more, as well as some turret plates headed over to the bot lane, and Easy, who's 1-0-1 on the Lucian and has a 20 CS lead and that kill as well. So Diana has finished off the Sunfire Aegis though, so is going to be able to be a little bit tankier there. Do you like this build here, since you have maybe the Mordekaiser to be your main AP source of damage? You want more survivability out of Diana?
I think it's fine. I think if you were going to play to try to win lane, I'm not sure if Sunfire is necessarily the best first item, but considering Diana's behind and whatnot, I'm imagining we're just seeing Sunfire in a Jack show and going from there, which I think, honestly, with the state of the game it's probably the best thing you can do right now as Bally.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense here. As Lucian did recall, he was able to pick up the Gale Force there, so now Easy does have the Mythic online just under 12 minutes into the game. So obviously, if it wasn't already difficult enough for Project Crisis to just try to stick around and stay safe in the bot lane, it's going to be even more difficult now with the Gale Force.
Yeah, it's also going to be really hard to stick on the Lucian if they are trying to win a fight, just because Gale Force is one of those summoner spells that also kind of works as a temporary flash. But I mean, God.
Lucian cleansed, and the culling E forward kills Project Crisis. Are we going to have 2 kills? 1-on-1 there. Yes, Ryze gets yet another kill. This mid lane Diana has not been working out for Off to Za. Cam is now 3-0-1. The Maokai is in the lane, but it is too late.
Jesus, that is starting to spell disaster here for Off the Za. Eclipsing Tides have found their advantage, and they are running with it. Like you said in draft, that Pokemon, they're on the challenger mode. No, they found their advantage. They're up 3,000 gold. They have a ton of tower plating, a ton of CS, a strong Ryze who just got first turret, or a strong Lucian who just got first turret, and a strong Ryze who's almost completed that tier.
Oh, Tidal Wave is used onto the Maokai though. He does get knocked up from Nunu as well, but Spy Kids is just on the run, just wants to steal this camp and get away free. Maybe have a nice little lane gank here against Nifty. Aqua Prison does land, but nothing is to come from that. And yeah, it is 5-0 in kills. The gold lead is getting larger by the minute, and I just wonder, is anything going to happen here with the Twisted Advance? Cam is going to have the safety of Spy Kids in the area, and the ultimate used out from Maokai. And the flash! He failed the flash. He didn't get over the wall, and Spy Kids punishes him for that.
That's gotta hurt. I don't even know if he would have gotten away with that flash, but it was worth the shot, and oh my god. It always feels so bad when you're like a footstep away from being able to flash the wall, but you're ultimately not able to get there.
Kobe used the Death Realm here onto Ornn, onto Nunu there, so he's fighting. Absolute Zero is used, forcing the flash out of Kobe. Kobe Spy Kids just stops channeling it because he got the flash there. That was definitely worth the cooldown, and so now it's 6 kills, and you know, they are in the area here potentially for top lane for when the second Rift Herald spawns.
And that's one of the things about picking an earlier game team comp. It's something you see a lot of times in like Korean competitive as well, right? Where you see them pick a lot more towards the early game because it's on you to play well in the early game versus to capitalize on the enemy's mistakes. And we've seen Eclipsing Tide play very well with these early to mid-game champions. They've found their advantage, and it's gonna make Off the Za struggle to try to hold what they have and wait till they can outscale them, right? You're really waiting for that Jinx to get the IE and whatnot, to be getting the Rune-ons and being able to actually get into the game. But by that point, are they going to have a base left to fight around?
Well, we'll have to find out, as Project Crisis has completed the Kraken Slayer, so at least you have your Mythic online for your AD carry on Off to Za's end, but that is against the Lucian, who already has half of the second item build, as well as the cooldown boots there. Boots of Lucidity. Easy is not messing around in this game as they take the second dragon of the game.
Yeah, they've started to stack, and it's a very nice soul for them. It's going to be the Mountain Soul on the table for this game. Really good for a champion like Nunu. Really good for a champion like Ornn if you're Eclipsing Tide. Of course, if you're off the Zaw, you're looking to get on that Maokai, that Diana, and even that Mordekaiser, right? The thing is, they are 4 dragons away from it, but if they were to somehow find it, they'd have a ton, I believe 36% extra armor and magic resist.
That would be nice. That is what, they're saying in comms right now. It's like, okay, if we can stack 4 mountain dragons, that would be our way back into it here. But the Jack Show is completed for Ornn finally, so he does have his mythic there in the top lane, and then the Rylai's Rush from Kobe's end means he doesn't have his mythic, but it is a really strong power spike on Mordekaiser typically. It's not as strong as a mythic, but just how laning phase works out, it is it's worth it to rush Rylai's.
Yeah, and it's also just so good, too, because of the slow, right? You pull them, and like someone like Ornn, without being able to dash, has such easy time. Hard time getting away, but oof.
Spy Kids in the area. Ornhorn is used onto Kobe, but not that effective. Absolute Zero has to be used as well. Kobe does not have his flash anymore. Used that last time. Easy gets the kill up in the top lane. 3rd kill of the game for Easy here, and now they can just blow open this top lane.
A 3-0 Lucian from off the Zaw. He's going to be getting that second item real soon, especially when they take this turret. There's going to be so much gold on Easy, and I guess you can say he's living the easy life at the moment, as we're trying to get revenge on Spy Kid as from off the Zaw's perspective. Although there's so many of them there, I don't think they're going to be able to do it. And that's just a 7-0 lead for Eclipsing Tides.
Yeah, that is a lot of gold as well. So this is the scenario you talked about, Romeo, in the draft, that Off-to-Zaw can be punished if they just want to play late game with Jinx and make it and make every one of their matches 45 minutes long. If you have Lucian, who's easy the best, statistically best ADC in the league and statistically the strongest player in the Divinity League, you can be punished for that playstyle.
Yeah, and they certainly are, and it brings up, are they going to be able to stall it like last week? Last week, they were able to go the distance. They were able to go 40, 45 minutes, which if they can do that, if they can wear down their opponent here, put them in a little bit of a rest hold, stop them from taking some towers, they could find themselves there. And I'm confident to say that if Off-the-Zaw is able to rip it to that 40-minute mark, or even like the 30, 35-minute mark, the game then turns into their favor. But with a 7-0 lead, 6K advantage from Eclipsing Tide, it is a monumental task they're fighting right now.
Call the Forge Rod just kind of whiffs there in the lane. Not really sure what Unaware Idiot's plan was, because even if you did hit Maokai, he was under the safety of his turret with his team there, so kind of just a wasted cooldown there. But it is Ornn's ultimate, so it's not like it is too long. And Kohi is being pushed out of his own jungle right into the waiting arms of Cam. Kohi has to walk back to the turret and the tidal wave. Oh, would have been nice to let the support get it since Lilac wasted the ult anyway, but instead it goes out to the better target, which is Easy.
The damage that just occurred there, though, that was a feat of strength from Eclipsing Tide. We just watched Maokai with Demonic's health get completely burned in the blink of an eye. Like, literally blink and you miss it, and that Maokai was sent back to his roots.
Definitely not a great position for the Maokai to be in, because you're being chased out of your jungle, but right into bot lane where the Rise was. And he twisted advanced forward into the Rise, meaning he had to spend more time walking back to the turret, which just let the Lucian catch up through the jungle there. So obviously it was just kind of a damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of scenario from Kohi, and that will be his second death of the game. I am trying to look for the win condition, like you're saying, Romeo. I understand you can get to a Mountain Soul and get stack 4 dragons. I just don't know if Easy's gonna let that happen.
Look, is it easy to get there? Absolutely not. Is it possible? Well, when you're the second and third place team, absolutely. When you are fighting desperately for that second place position, when you are fighting desperately to get that higher seeding, anything's possible if you can pull it off. And again, they have the team comp to do it if they can get to the later stages of the game. It's not easy. I completely agree, especially not when that Baron, unless Project Crisis can steal it, it's certainly going over to Eclipsing Tide. But it does mean they have first place on Dragon, and if they can take this Dragon, it's step 1.
Yeah, nobody from Off to Za is trying to contest this Baron whatsoever. They know that they're in the area. Super Dragon is not gonna be able to get it though. Nunu does smite down the Nash before the rocket connects. They're really smart. And are they gonna be able to get there in time? Nunu is super fast. He's rolling in. Primal is going to be able to use his ult here. Excuse me, Lilac does. And that is just going to be a huge party. Absolute Zero pops another member of Off to Za. Bailey is really low. Doesn't matter how tanky you are against these fed carries, as Bailey is gonna go down. Project Crisis is killed as well. And it is just Nifty walking back to lane. 4 more kills headed over to ET side.
Oh, but the sapling does it. The first kill for Off the Za, off the sapling. The comeback is on, baby. If they can defend their base, but with none of them up in the Baron, right? A lot of their base gonna fall. That T2 gonna go both in top and mid. They're up and trying to defend the T3s. If they can do it, of course, huge shutdown onto Maokai. I think it was 1,000 gold from that little sapling. So right now, I gotta say the MVP of this game has to be the sapling outside of the red buff bush.
Well, I mean, it is the only thing that's gotten a kill on the entire side of Off to Za in this matchup, so I don't know if you could really make an argument against anybody except, you know, Sapling OP. But that is very funny. Maybe helped him buy some extra items while dead in the base, you know, heading over to the base. You get that extra 1,000 gold helping him there, but still no second items completed for anybody on Off to Za's side.
You know what's crazy though? Even with that 1,000 gold shutdown, they're still officially at that 10k mark. It is a 10,000 gold gap for Eclipsing Tide, which has to hurt. But I don't think you realize that you're 10k gold down if you're Off the Za. Even 12 to 1, I think you still sit there and you think, okay, yeah, we're down a lot. Yeah, we didn't even get that dragon. They're on soul point. They have to fight soul point. It's about getting as much as you can before that soul point dragon is up. And oh my god, if you look at the bot lane here, 4,000 gold extra on that Lucian. Holy. Holy.
Yeah, that's obviously a lot of gold. That's a full, you know, completed item like Infinity Edge or something like that up over Project Crisis, who is still just at the BF sword and doesn't even have tier 2 boots yet. And Lucian has 3 full items. Nunu's gonna try to roll in there, does stop though once he hits the minion wave. Are they gonna try to push even further with this Baron buff while they have it? And it looks like no, they lost the minion wave there, so just gonna play it safe and wait for the next one.
Now, of course, Rise also putting some work into that top lane, trying to cut off one of the arms of Off the Za by sending that Rise up there, right? Mordekaiser are kind of bouncing between. They've sent the Diana once again to fight the Rise, which, I mean, if the past is anything to go by, it might need a little bit of assistance.
Yeah, obviously that Rise did not become 4-0-5 without the help of Diana as the opposing mid laner in this matchup. And they are kind of just like sticking around. The Baron buff has worn off for Eclipsing Tides, but they are just sticking around mid trying to break open this turret.
And of course, I think if you're Eclipsing Tide, you're good to just keep pushing these waves and wait. Oh, wait a minute!
Tidal wave!
Whoa!
Hits onto Nifty at the last second. It looked like the last couple of drops from the ocean were able to pop it up, and Easy is going to get the kill. Death Realm is used though from Kobe onto Cam. That might not be the target you want to take since he is so strong. EQ is not going to be enough. Nature's Grass tries to lock him down in place too, but this Rise isn't even close to being killed, and Project Crisis might be on the way out though with the root, and Spy Kids chasing forward. Project Crisis is down. Bally has to walk away back into the fountain, and this could be the end of the game if they don't play their cards right.
Oh god, and that's first inhib going to fall. They got a wave crashing top, a wave crashing bot. I imagine it's going to be a minimum of 2 inhibs here for Eclipsing Tide, which is, oh, I guess not. It's just going to be the T3s falling, but it's still massive considering that Baron's up in 1:40 and that Soul Dragon up in a minute.
Oh, Spy Kids, you're getting dangerously low against Bally. He's gonna Q. That second Q does not land though, so TP is used from Kobe. He's gonna try to chase onto Lilac. E does not land. Kobe's not able to pull anybody back, and the Aqua Prison is going to stop Bally's advance.
They stop it for some time, and this is gonna give them the chance to take position on Dragon. Now they have a choice here. Do they either drop the Dragon and try to coin flip Elder if they can get there, Or do they say screw it and try to delay that soul by 5 minutes? It's a tough call. It really is, especially considering Jinx doesn't have IE, they certainly get wiped. It's kind of a damned if you do, damned if you don't scenario here, unless the Covenant Jinx rocket can come in and swipe that Mountain Drake.
Hey, man, almost took the Baron the last time around, so might have to rely on it again. Cam is kind of 2v1ing there against Maokai, and then Nunu is going in onto Nifty. Nifty is dead. The 7th kill of the game for Lucian. Tidal Wave is going to be used there. Kobe is going to be forced to flash out to safety. Kohi does not go down either. Oh, and the Aqua Prison misses there. That could have been nice if it landed.
And now they're taking that dragon, but can the super mega dragon rocket find the steal? It's not even going to get sent, unfortunately. And that is the Mountain Soul on Eclipsing Tide, or as I call it, Soul Sweep!
I'm happy you call it that because I refuse to. So.
Oh, come on, pull up the toasty Mortal Kombat impression. Project L's coming. You got to practice.
Oh yeah, that is true. Oh, look at the what do they say in fighting game? Oh, the neutral, the fundies, the fundamentals. You know, like they're just trying to use my terms. Oh, the level 3. You know, ultimates. Those are essentially the same thing as your ultimates in fighting games. Ballywick is in the absolute zero. He is going to get popped. Bailout will not help. That's another kill handed over to Easy. Forward, Nifty with the kill. That's a double kill. That's another one. He cannot stop with the triple kill. Can you make it a quadra on to the Mordekaiser? You can't get a penta because Selfish Rise was able to take a kill there. Spy Kids is going to go for it. Call of the Forge Gods. Pops him up. Nunu gets that last kill, and 27 minutes into the game, Eclipsing Tides will take game 1.
And that is a huge match for Eclipsing Tide. Gonna start this series 1-0 with 4 perfect KDAs and a 10-1 Lucian on easy. His stats have been shooting through the roof even more after a game like that. And now you have to ask, going into this next game, what's off Dazak going to change? Because let's face it, the early game went really well. The first 7 or 8 minutes went great, but ultimately what we seen was the second Eclipsing Tide got even the smallest advantage, they steamrolled it after that fight. The fight they took bot lane when they got that triple kill, after that, it was we just watched them run through the Summoner's Rift.
It might be a Lucian ban. That's might be on the horizon here if you're asking me. Since if you ban Lucian, likely you're kind of getting rid of the Nami, and you know a lot of credit has to be given to the bot lane as a whole, right? It's not just Lucian by himself there. So I do think that would be something that obviously Off-Dazah has to consider here going into game 2.
I think the other thing they have to consider is, we've seen countless times that they've been going for this delay and pray play style, right? Where you're just trying to get to the later stages of the game. And I don't think if they try that again against Eclipsing Tide, it's going to work out for them. To be honest, they play very well. You can tell they play very cohesive. And the thing they do really well, even from that game, is they're constantly together as a team. And that's something that knows no bounds when it comes to competitive. The numbers advantage in almost any fight usually takes it unless you're down pretty hard. So I kind of like to see them switch up their style a bit and maybe go for something more mid-game-ish, where maybe we can see them kind of stick together as mid and bot and jungle and find some picks onto Eclipsing Tide and find a way to get to late game. If you want to pick a couple late game champs, that's fine, but they need to have some contingency plan for that early game.
And I would have liked the mid lane matchup obviously did not go the way Off-Dazah wanted, with the Diana into Rise giving over first blood and then just, you know, feeding him throughout the rest of the game. I thought the Diana flex was just a little too cute for my liking, especially once you locked in Maokai afterwards. You had the double AP in your mid and jungle, so you didn't have like the offsetting damage profiles there from something a little you got a stronger AD option in the jungle that you could have went for that matched with Diana a little bit better.
Yeah, I think that definitely would have helped a lot. You're completely right on that statement too, because of course Jinx was their only AD, and Jinx didn't really have a chance to play the game after that first fight in the bot lane. So having your only AD be as far behind as Project Crisis ended up being, it makes it very, very difficult to do anything, because they can kind of just, especially champions like Ornn and Nunu, they can kind of just stack that magic resist and run right through you, because what damage are they going to be taking?
Yeah, definitely. And obviously the stronger or the earlier that they had the advantage there, they're able to get those item differences over the other side, and having those extra items that have magic resist in them compared to the amount of AP that you have on your side is just obviously going to favor Eclipsing Tides when they're that fed ahead. But Unaware Idiot also did his job. He's just chilling on Ornn, right? Waiting for the right moment. So I just think, like, as a collective, obviously Easy was great. Cam got first blood and had 5 kills on Rise, and Spy Kids was on his main and, just completely popped off. But, like, as a whole, Lilac as well performed really well. So I just think that was truly excellent display from an entire 5 stack.
Oh, absolutely. And I think the other thing you just mentioned, though, a lot of them were on their main champions. A lot of them were on the comfort picks, the champions they can lock in and solo duo and run house, the champions that oftentimes are banned. And we didn't really see the banning of their mains, which is not necessarily disrespectful, but definitely something that I think is going to change going to this next draft, right? There's no way we're letting them on Nunu again. There's no way we're letting them on Lucian again. At least I hope not, because after what we just seen, if they're going to be able to play that early to mid game, and if Oftazal wants to go for a scaling like a scaling team comp again, at least we need to see that Lucian, that Nunu changed up.
Well, let's see what happens, because we are going to take a quick break as we get prepared for the draft in Game 2. So, are Eclipsing Tides going to end the regular season with a convincing 2-0, or will Oftazal force a Game 3? We'll find out when we come back here at Titan Esports in the Divinity League.
Sapling MVP.
And thank you, everybody. Welcome back here for game two of Off to Za and Eclipsing Tides best of three matchup, the final match of the regular season here in the Divinity League. The winner of the series is going to be the second seed out of Group B. And honestly, Romeo, if Off to Za wants to be that second seed, they're going to have to improve a lot over these next two games.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult. I don't think they played particularly badly from like just a gameplay stance, but the problem with their playstyle that you can easily see, especially against a team like Eclipsing Tide, is once they fall behind, they kind of just bleed out. There's no medical assistance to the gunshot wound once they took it, and that's going to be a big problem for them because the way they kind of drafted last game, the second Diana fell behind, it was just there was no early game left. And especially with Jinx being the only AD threat, what were they even going to do late game? So my question here, and what I want to see, is more, even if it's just a slight switch from late to mid game out of them, I want some switch up from their team. I don't want to see 3.5 scaling champions. And the other thing we were talking about before, well, just after we went to break, is we've seen Mordekaiser, Maokai, and Diana picked. Diana went tank, and Morden Mao went AP, which feels a little bit weird, especially when Diana's playing into Rise.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that Diana, like I said, at the end of the game, I just wasn't really... I didn't understand the role on the team because you rush Sunfire like it's the end of season 12 when Sunfire Diana was really strong, but that was as a jungler. So many times Diana was like QEing into Rise's face and then just like walking away afterwards. So like just trying to trade as the melee champ in the matchup against the ranged mid laner there instead of going for the all-ins, because as you're walking back to safety, he's just pummeling you and getting tier stacks as well as first blood, right?
Yeah, and there was no committing, right? It was just go in, go out, go in, go out. Which, if you're gonna do that, pick something like Syndra or something where you just poke and then walk away, right? You're not picking a melee champion who's taking her dagger, stabbing, and then walking away. If you're gonna stab harder. Keep stabbing until they're dead.
Especially because Rise was picked first. It wasn't like Rise was a counter into mid Diana. It was Rise, and then right before the second phase of bans, they picked the Diana there as a potential flex. But I would like to see that changed up, like potentially, like you're saying, Syndra or Ari or something else in the mid lane.
Yeah, I would have really liked to see kind of the way Off to Za was playing. I think a Cassiopeia could have went wild in the mid lane over that Diana, something that can kind of just stop the Rise. I don't know if they're playing it, but we're going to have to see what the change-ups are. I think, just real quick, discussing bans, we need to see that Lucian gone. We need to see the Nunu gone, or Lucian or Nami. It can be either or. And I'd like to see the Nunu gone and go from there. But I'm really hoping Off to Za changes up the comp quite a bit.
Yeah, let's see. Obviously, you only get the 3 bans, right? So who knows if they go and ban Lucian this time around. In one of the previous bans from the last game, they leave open, right? It could be even more problematic. But let's see what happens as we head over to the draft for game 2 in this matchup between Off to Za and Eclipsing Tides. Eclipsing Tides are still on the blue side here, so it is still going to be the Caitlyn first ban like they did in game 1.
That makes sense, of course. They don't really have anything to change. This is what I'm talking about. Lucian Nami combo is down. They could still draft Lucian for sure. I don't think it's as scary, though, when you knock out his fishy friend.
It's definitely not the same, however, statistically, like I followed Freak before when he's mentioned on like Lolalytics and shown stats that Lucian Nami is not necessarily always the highest win rate bot lane that Lucian has as a support combo. There have been other enchanter type supports over the last year and a half since the rework to force him down into the bot lane, like Sona and Soraka as well, Yumi pre-Yumi before they destroyed her there. Like there are other champions that can work well with Lucian. It's not just Nami.
Yeah, I which is fair, but the thing that you have to consider with Lucian Nami is people have been playing this game for a while. The main combo they practiced is Lucian Nami, right? Because of how strong it was before the Electrocute nerf. So picking Lucian Nami isn't just good because of the combo, but also because most Lucian players have so much experience with that Nami as their support.
All right, so first pick for Eclipsing Tides is going to be the Hecarim. You say, all right, fine, you banned my Nunu, but I can still just zoom around the map and get right in your face with Hecarim.
And I'd argue with the way he was playing last game, Hecarim might even be better, right? We see Nunu going for a full clear, which is fine, because it clearly worked out, but it's not something you see a lot. Hecarim, I run through, I gank you, I gank you, I gank you, we go again, and we go again like it's a goddamn merry-go-round from lane to lane to lane, which is going to be really fun to see.
And Viego, Vigar, the double V comp locked in here on your for red 1 and 2 there. I like this potential if it is the Vigar in the mid lane. Who knows, maybe flexes it to support or something like that. But this is the opposing damage profiles, right? Viego and Vigar, they synergize with each other when Viego comes for a gank.
And I gotta ask you, what does V stand for?
If it's not Vendetta, we might have a problem.
I was hoping you'd say victory so I could counter you and say vendetta, but they do have a vendetta against Eclipsing Tide after that last match, so hopefully it comes out strong here, right?
I like it, Romeo. Aphelios is locked in, though, for Eclipsing Tide, so Easy does not want to play the Lucian without Nami, as you were predicting, so are they going to take their support here as the clock strikes down? No, it's actually the Victor locked in on Eclipsing Tide's end.
And I think that's a solid answer into Veigar. You're able to just control a lot of the waves and scale up with Veigar. The one thing is, you do scale earlier than Veigar. Veigar will outscale Victor in an infinite amount of time, but Victor can just do so much in team fights, and especially with that Hecarim is going to be charging into the front line or the flank, that Victor can kind of just sit there and be happy with the Aphelios and just mow down whatever Off-Tazah throws at them.
Set is locked in for Off-Tazah, so gonna have a kind of similar profile to Mordekaiser there, right? Likes to be a bruiser, likes to be oppressive in the top lane there. So if the depends on what Eclipsing Tides wants to do again, because I think Unaware Idiot did a very strong job on the Ornn the last game, just not losing, just playing weak side. Do you want to concede top lane yet again to this set?
Yeah, it's going to be questionable. I imagine they can, however, when you have an Aphelios bot lane, a lot of the times you can just kind of rely on them to play safe and farm up, but if Eclipsing Tide's anything to go by, I imagine that Hecarim is pathing towards bot. So I wouldn't be surprised to see once again an Ornn or just something that kind of sits there and helps scale up for their team. Of course, that Ornn isn't going to be coming out because it has been banned.
Yeah, the Ornn this time around, that's what I wish they banned in last game, but this time when they finally learned their lesson. The Aphelios Thresh or Aphelios Braum, like some of those typical support ADC matchups in the bot lane have not been banned here. I was kind of expecting maybe to see the Thresh ban just because he is seen so often, but that's one way around it. It's kind of like a sixth ban if you are able to pick Thresh before they can pair it with Aphelios.
Yeah, however, you might see something with the Gianna here. A Mundo, wait. Oh, that's Mundo top. So is it Mundo jungle, but Hecarim's already locked in. I love Mundo jungle, but Mundo top's great. I think Mundo top is really good in the set, actually, too. Just because you can do a lot of the poke damage and stay away from set before it can use that big blistering shield smash. So if you just sit there with Mundo, you throw your cleavers and you chill, it's exactly the playstyle Eclipsing Tide's going for. And then later into the game, he can even run down something like Veigar because of his CC blocker. But we're going to see what the support is here.
Yeah, he has to lock it in here as the clock runs down, and it is the Janna locked in with Aphelios here, so not something like Braum or something else that can try to protect it better, more of the Enchanter style of protection.
Now, funny enough, if you look at the OP.GG of Easy, it appears he used to be a one-trick Aphelios, and I mean, Aphelios Janna can go wicked hard if the hooks aren't landing. It's gonna be heavily on the Thresh to dictate this. Sorry, that Camille's locked. That's wait, that's actually a Camille?
Is that is this Vigar 80? Is this Vigar ADC set mid Camille top?
It has to be. What is with these melee ADCs into, like, that's scary. A set into Victor? That, like, I can see why it would be good, but the thing is, you get one shot. If you have your flash up, once you use it, if you don't kill him, you lose the lane. It is even more scary for the set. At least this time he's forced to commit. He's not like Diana where he can dash out, right? If he's going in, he's staying in.
Yeah, I wanted to see a different look from Off to Za, but I don't think I was expecting this type of an alteration to the team comp.
I mean, at least this time too, it's a 4 AD and 1 AP. And that AP, I mean, a solo Veigar AP is really nice to see. It could be good. I'm not saying it's definitively bad. I just think it's weird, but maybe weird is what we want from Off to Za. It's definitely a different playstyle. They're a lot more early game than we're used to seeing, which I'm glad to see the switch up. Actually, both these teams are switched up, right? You have Mundo, Victor, Aphelios, all which are champions that can scale into the game against Veigar, Set, Camille, these types of champions that are definitely more scaling towards the early game. It's on Off to Za now to beat the timer and do exactly what Eclipsing Tides did to them.
And I was sitting here as Off to Za locked in Thresh fourth, right? And I'm like, okay, well, I'm ready for if they just pick, I don't know, Ashe or Xayah or something like that, Ren 5. I'd be like, okay, well, now I'm confused because you knew Aphelios was picked super early, so why would you save ADC for counterpick Ren 5? And this was why. They kind of they hid their intentions against Eclipsing Tides by waiting for the Camille to flex Veigar potentially down to the ADC role.
And from a drafting perspective, in terms of like flex picks, it makes sense. But like you said earlier, is that Set mid too cute? Is that too cute of a flex pick to really be worth making it a flex pick? Because I'm terrified to see a Victor in the Set, right? Sorry, a Victor in the Set. I don't know why I'm calling him Victor, but a Victor in the Set, right? It's just, last time we seen Ryze win the lane because he just poked him. Once the engage happened, you just watch the Ryze finish him off. Is that what we're gonna see? Or is it going to be completely different? We're gonna see the boxer come out and beat the living crap out of a cripple.
I guess that is one way to put it for sure. But I think the set has some similarities to Diana, right? Obviously being a melee champ in the first place, but can really push forward in the lanes. Kind of like Set is like Diana, but like more hairy because he's like half animal, all that hair or whatever. Diana's got the long ponytail, but Set's got hair all over,
Is he gonna bring the Fury or the Furry? That's my question.
Only one way to find out. So I do believe we are going to take a quick break though, Romeo, as we get set up for this game 2. And there's a lot riding on the line for this interesting team comp from Off to Za. So when we come back, we're going to see if it works out for them and if there will be a game 3 or not. So when we come back, we will be having our game 2 matchup between Off to Za and Eclipsing Tides. All right, everybody, thank you for joining us here for our game 2 between Off to Za and Eclipsing Tides. Eclipsing Tides had quite the commanding victory in game 1, as the only one that died was Lucian, and not even a human being got a kill on the other side, because it was actually the sapling that got the only kill of the game for Off to Za.
Yeah, so Sapling MVP last game, but who will be the MVP this game for Off to Za? We're going to have to see, because the Saplings aren't a factor anymore. It's only the 5 sentient champions left. None of them have I guess like the Lantern's technically sentient, but I can't kill anyone. So we're going to have to see here. Oh, this game has to mean so much for both these teams, even more so than last time. If Eclipsing Tide win, they confirm that second seed. If Off to Za win, we go to a game 3.
Yeah, and I know we were talking about in the draft that they've at least somewhat changed it up here on the side of Off to Za as they look for potentially trying a little sneaky little attack here at level 1 into the Aphelios and Janna, but are they going to fall for it? Easy? What's got... No, the hook! The hook goes completely wide. Nifty just missing it right away, and you gave up that huge advantage you had.
Was that hook going to the LEC or what? Like, oh my... I'm not going to lie. That setup, beautiful. I thought an early, or some early poke damage. They might have not found the kill because it is Veigar threat. But I thought they were gonna find a ton of damage. And the problem there is, I understand he was trying to hopefully get a flash hook, right? Like where they flash away into the hook. But I feel like you just
why would
shoot
he
it
know
and have
to
it flash
flash?
away.
You were hidden in the bush.
I mean, if you panic and see the hook come out, but it's it's one of those predictions that either you're getting the clip or you're looking like a fool. And unfortunately, this time, It wasn't the clip.
I don't know, Nifty. That was not the play, and he had some good games last week. Obviously, when they got the victory there, some strong finishes on. I want to say it was Karma. I don't know why I want to say that, but I can't remember exactly what supports Nifty was playing last week. But obviously, there is the potential there in the bot lane, and just to over predict when you're already in a losing spot. Like, okay, fine, he's gonna flash your hook there, but he could also flash if you throw the hook in the right spot, and then you still traded your 10-second cooldown for his flash. And if he doesn't flash, you get the hook. Like, I don't really understand what the over prediction was for.
Yeah, again, he just wanted one of those nifty little clips, but something that's clean here.
Oh yeah, Lilac flash forward with the Zephyr there to pop up Nifty, and Spy Kid is in the area, but he is running away as Viego is here to counter jungle down Zon. Lilac gonna get another Cyclone out there for the safety there, and nobody goes down as of yet, but both of the junglers are in the bot lane, meaning Bally knows he is safe to try to 1v1 this victory. Does get stunned though, and this is kind of the same scenario as last game with the melee mid laner against the control mage, this time around being the victor, just really pushing him down and beating him down when he pushes forward. But there is a gank though. Kohi's in the area. Cam has to flash. The stun still comes through, and Kohi is... Oh no! He gets stunned! He gets stunned in the gravity field. He's not able to get the auto off to kill him.
Honestly, not even close. Not even a little. No, but that's gotta feel bad. And I was gonna say, one thing that I was gonna mention before that is it's a Flash Ghost set, right? Usually you see Flash Ignite set when you're playing something like this, and I understand why you go the Ghost. You go the Ghost so you can try to run up to him so you have more than just a Flash to utilize. But imagine if it was the Ignite there and not the Ghost. The First Blood.
You'd imagine a First Blood.
Yeah, it's and like that's kind of the trade-off.
Oh no! Nifty has to flash out. He thought he had easy, but he said, I'm not trapped in here with you, you're trapped in here with me! And he gets the First Blood as he had to just sit within Vigar's cage and kill the Thresh. And now, sure, he did die, but at least he got the First Blood gold for it.
And the thing is, yeah, they got the First Blood gold, but you gotta kind of be happy with that trade as well if you're off to Zaw. No summoners left the bot lane, and Vagar's just looking kind of chill right now, right? I have to say, it is a little bit interesting that he took Cleanse, but no summons burnt from that Vagar. He's gonna be able to stack for free for a little while. He's getting a lot of poke damage from that Janna, so it still looks relatively good for off to Zaw. And of course, Vagar's the one who picked up the kill there.
Yeah, and then Bally is already back to half health in this, really just expecting how this matchup to go. Once they hit level 6, maybe it'll be a little more volatile there, and if Kohi can come around and actually finish off the job in the mid lane next time around. But for now, they're just going to be clearing out their camp. Tekram is somewhat in the area here as he's hovering Zon Lilac as they clear the ward. We are 6 minutes into the game, so the dragon has spawned, and looks like Thresh might be roaming mid.
Top side though, Kobe trying to murder that unaware idiot, but he's going to fail as, by the way, can I just say that Mundo being played by, oh my god.
By unaware idiot, that's a great, we don't even have time as there is a fight. And Bally gets the kill, Zon Lilac goes down, so mid laner getting a kill this time around, but he does die right back. Aphelios is the one that gets that kill. Kohi is going to kill his opposing jungler there, but Aphelios gets a double kill on the way out, so he does have 2 kills, but he has died twice.
Now the thing to mention here though is we've seen a fight like that very, very similar in game 1 around this time, but there's a difference here. Off to Zaw, playing the earlier game team comp, able to find the winning side of it, which, if last game's anything to indicate, could mean Off to Zaw is in the driving seat.
Hey, you never know. Obviously, that is what they need with how their composition is laid out with the Viego, who has 2 kills already. Set already has 1, Bally already has 1 more kill than he had the entire game last time around. But Easy is trapped in the cage again, but he dodges the hook once more. You think that his area of movement is not as large, but he's still able to do it. Spy Kid stops the hook from Camille, and he's trying to get this gank onto Kobe. It's not going to result results in a kill, gonna bring the Hecarim down really low, but Kohi is back in the mid lane. This time around they are level 6, so he can go for the W on set. One more ult should do it, and Kohi is able to get a kill. That's 3-0-1 on the Viego.
We wanted blood, and that's exactly what we're seeing. It feels like every lane right now is completely at war, and it's making for one hell of a match. 7 minutes of the game and 7 kills. We're getting a kill a minute right now, which is making this really interesting. Of course, off to Zaw right now, being able to find that early game, looking really good right now. Their mid lane's winning, their jungle's winning, their bot lane, it's pretty even, and of course the top lane, it's even in terms of KDA, but when you look at the numbers, when you look at the minion slaughter up in that top lane, Camille's been the one running through.
Well, what was nice for that gank in the mid lane against Cam is that they did not have to expend either ultimate from Kohi or Bally. So those are still up for the next team fight potentially, if that's either the Rift Herald, which Viego is at in the area right now, or if that's something later on, they still have those potential team fight altering ultimates.
Yes, of course, set ultimate, really one of the most powerful things, like one of the biggest reasons to pick set, right? Being able to take someone and launch them into the back line of Eclipsing Tide can do a lot of the team, but it really forces you to focus that set. And of course, Viego's execute. You find someone who's low HP and you say, I am now you, I am the skin crawler and you are my patient.
Well, luckily Dr. Mundo is in this game if they need a doctor, since you're mentioning a patient, and he does like to help people out in Zon.
Hey, he's Zon's best doctor, no?
Well, if statistically, every patient he has never comes back, so they're all
100%
they're all cured.
And if that was the case in the top lane, then Eclipsing Tide would be winning a lot harder right now. But unfortunately for Unaware Idiot, he has not been able to find that cleaver to the skull of Kobe just yet.
Now, he does have Ghost, though, so a little more aggressive than the potential like flash teleport lane there by going with TP and Ghost into this matchup against TP Flash on Camille's end. No ignite or anything there, no additional kill pressure, but Zon Lilac sees Nifty, gets the Cyclone to land there as they try to get some vision ready for this dragon.
The thing that is worth mentioning is it still feels like Off the Zaw is on a bit of a timer here, right? Victor, Mundo, Aphelios, all champions that get a lot better later into the game against Set, Camille, Viego, champions that do somewhat fall off. I mean, of course, they do have the Vagar as a contingency plan late game, but oh god.
So like has to walk away. It's gonna be looking in a different direction there as Kobe and Unaware Idiot fight, but has to leave the area as Viego is trying to get a lot of pressure down in the bot lane. Aphelios is by himself. Easy's the best player on the team. Can he keep himself safe? And yes, just by his gun combination, they decide to walk away.
Yeah, I mean, it's red and white. We ain't gonna fight, right? Red and white is a scary combination when you're eyeing down enough Helios. It's that moment where you see a tiger all by himself and he shows you the teeth and you're like, or better yet, you see a bear all by himself and he's on a brick of cocaine. Either way, you're not gonna mess with it.
No, definitely not. I haven't seen that movie yet. I've heard a lot of really good things, but it was a funny scene. It was a funny scene at the Oscars last night with the cocaine bear.
Yeah, I heard the movie was really good, and what I've also heard is that this series is looking really good as a big gank in this mid lane.
No, Nifty tried to hook, but he got stunned right as the animation was about to come, so Cam just gets out with a flash, and because Hecarim was in the area, they do not chase. This gravity field has been performing wonders for Cam so far in this game.
Yeah, the gravitational pull has been doing a lot, but here comes the 3v3, but it's a 4v3 if you count Shelly.
Yeah, Shelly is going to hit into the turret there, get a couple of plates as we are still, only 12 minutes into the game, and that mid lane turret has almost been completely taken down. So this is obviously a way different scenario than how game one was playing out in the mid lane. Bally actually holding his own here and having a kill. And the dragon is up, so the red side is here first. Easy and Spike again trying to go flash forward from the set, but he doesn't really do anything. Is Hecarim going to go down? Yes, Project Crisis does get the kill, but Set will be killed in return. Easy is just going to try to auto everybody down. Kohi is unstoppable. The Heartbreaker doesn't get the kill. Vygar does, however, clean it up for him there for his jungler. And Felios is down, and so they can try to go for the dragon.
And the big bad evil guy has just become the big bad evil boss as he's 3-0 on this rift. That is a terrifying sight to see when the little midget starts running at you now.
Oh, the flay as he was stunned or stuck in the cage, I should say, for the victor. It's not going to lead to a kill, but 3-0-1 with the Everfrost on Vygar, and it is a Hex Tech rift, excuse me, so they can actually get back to lane or get back to some of those objectives a little bit quicker.
The other thing worth mentioning is Hextech Soul has been long known as one of the most embracive. Might not be the highest win rate at every time on the Summoner's Rift, but it's definitely the soul that once you have, you notice it the most. It literally gives everyone on the team that wonderful item of a static shiv, and you can simply run at people. Now, of course, it might not be the best when you're rocking a Veigar ADC, but a Viego's gonna really love it, a Camille's gonna love it, a Set's gonna love it. And speaking of Set, that first turret going to give him some more extra gold as they find themselves with a 4,000 gold advantage here.
Yeah, the CS is even in the mid lane, but that extra kill and those assists, obviously, on Set's end are what's going to be the difference, as Victor does not have his Mythic yet, but Set has the Stride Breaker completed. And here might be a fight at the red buff. It's Kohi and Bally are going to push forward. Hecarim has to run away. Is not strong enough right now against this 4-0 Viego with his Mythic completed as well. Flash forward to bring him under turret, but then the Showstopper is used to get right back out, and now the W is not enough, but the stun and auto will be the kill for Set here against that Janna. Really cool interactions in that one-on-one fight between the support and the mid laner, but that's a kill over. Hook does land this time around. Double kill for Aphelios, but Cam is down. The Victor is dead. He's no longer able to help. Easy gets the triple, and it's just the Thresh. He can just focus down the Thresh. He doesn't have Flash. He doesn't have Ghost, so he's not gonna, or Cleanse. He's not gonna be able to walk any faster, and Thresh will get away. I also think I think there was a kill in the top lane under the turret.
Dr. Mundo went for the tower dive, found Camille, but died himself. So many bodies lighting the Summoner Rift here. Blood is in the grass as there's just it's just chaos. Now, of course, that Herald's going to be grabbed from Eclipsing Tide, but the more important thing when you're looking at an Eclipsing Tide is because that Victor wasn't able to find the kill to the Hook of Nifty. We now have a 6-3 Aphelios to rival the 3-1 Veigar. The ADC and APC of both these teams are definitely the threats you're looking at. Now, of course, Viego's still looking pretty strong too, alongside of Bally a little bit, but nobody, and I mean nobody, is looking as strong as that 8k gold easy ADC.
Yeah, Felios is really carrying Eclipsing Tides right now, just gold-wise in this match. We saw just how much more gold he has than the rest of his team. Pretty much almost a full item up over not just the opponents on the other side, but the rest of his teammates, so they can't really catch up to him. It is going to be the Bloodthirster second item on Aphelios, which you've actually seen him pro play a lot, that teams will actually rush Bloodthirster first before their Mythic. This time around, Easy's going to get it second.
Now, of course, I do think Easy picking to rush the Mythic here worked out in wonders for him because of the added damage of that last fight, being able to get so many kills. However, now with that Bloodthirster picked up, being a full item over Project Crisis, it is kind of the bot lane of Eclipsing Tides' time to run wild.
Yeah, and it is obviously their team composition typically is playing through the bot lane, and in this scenario, as your Aphelios is fed, that is going to remain the same. But there are 3 people in the lane on bot. There is the ward though, so they see Bally. Maybe Bally is not aware that they are aware of his existence, and he's kind of just wasted time chilling on the ward.
Now, looking up at the top lane islands, the good old Hawaii of this oh, well, never mind, we can't talk about that right now.
Never mind, because we have Viego and the Hecarim going at it. Viego actually is pushed off of that fight there, trying to help out with the rest of the team. Nifty flash play forward, and the box is popped. Cam has to flash out to safety. Lilac is not going to be able to help as the Viego is in the area, but he doesn't get a kill. Kohi is just even at 5-1 and not strong enough to take down that control mage on the other side. I really thought Cam was going to go down at the start of that fight.
Yeah, however, the Cam and the Camille out TP'd, but didn't find anything. Now they're walking back top. That dragon is looking like it's going to be a 4v4, and right now I feel like a 4v4 kind of favors Eclipsing Tide if they can peel for easy. If they can't, if Cole's able to find his way onto the Aphelios, then it's going to definitely be a fight on the side of Off the Zaw. It's really, can they kill Aphelios before she dismounts the entire team?
Corporate Mundo going to work in this fight under Hextech Ultimate from the Kobe, and he is not threatened whatsoever. And I agree with you, Romeo, that if there is a 4v4, it might be helpful for the Eclipsing Tides that are beneficial for them. Obviously, it would be nice to have your Mundo in the area, but since he is not there, since he just did have that fight in the top lane, looks like they might
he's walking
try.
down.
They might try to concede. No, Lilac actually going in. Nifty completely whiffs the hook, but it doesn't matter. Viego is able to get the dragon. Aphelios has to flash forward, but Showstopper's just going to bring him into the rest of Off the Za. Aphelios is able to kill Set as he goes down, but Viego will claim the shutdown there, and that's even more gold given over to Off the Za.
And that has to hurt so much if you're Eclipsing Tide. A big shutdown from Viego, and you get the dragon. They're on soul point for that Hextech dragon. In 5 minutes, it's their opportunity to finish the job. And speaking of finishing the job,
yeah, finally a hook does land for the Thresh Project. Crisis gets the kill onto Unaware Idiots. So that's his second death of the game. 5-1 and 3. Vigar is obviously going to be very comparable in that damage compared to the 7-kill Aphelios.
Now that being said, Spy Kid making a wonderful macro play. He took that Rift Herald. He's running down mid, might find the T2 before Set gets there. It looks like he's going to. That T2 goes down. He does pull back something from his team, which they desperately need. I have to say that play from Spy Kid may have been what keeps Eclipsing Tide in this game.
Yeah, that was that is a gold difference. I saw one of the turrets they got before was also under an objective bounty, so they obviously have ways back into the game, some comeback mechanics in League of Legends to keep teams from feeling like they're out of it. It is only a 3,000 gold difference as we are about to get to 20 minutes into the game, so it's not like it has ballooned to the point like last game where Eclipsing Tide was up 10,000 gold 20 minutes into the game. Monsoon is used. Lilac just barely hanging on. Kohi is going to get into his face and kill the support. Can the Eclipsing Tides do anything to stop this advance from the red side? And that is another kill handed over. The jungler is down. Kohi gets a kill onto Victor as well. Mundo has to walk away. That's 3 kills more for Off the Za.
So you were saying that like at 20 minutes, it's a significantly smaller gap than last time, and yeah, do you want to go back on that statement at all?
No, we only move forward. We don't apologize.
Oh, we only move forward. Well, speaking of moving forward, Off the Za moving forward by claiming the giant purple worm. They're going to be getting the Baron power play on the 5 of their members here, and it's on them right now to really wash away the tide, start collecting the towers, and getting the cream of the crop here. They are a significant amount of gold ahead. They have 6,000 gold over the enemies. An Unaware Idiot might be unaware with this play, because I think Cole...
that is an 8-1 Viego. He's super fed. Project Crisis is in the area. The CC immunity has been popped on Unaware Idiot's end, so he's going to be... you can't really chase that there. And I don't know if you want to, quite frankly, when you're just a little Mundo with one item against an 8-1 Viego.
Yeah, it is. It's scary. However, if Eclipsing Tide has a win con, it is that of Aphelios. It is, of course, easy. It is easy against the world that Janna needs to peel for him. Unaware needs to peel for him. Hell, the Hecarim needs to be fearing them away. And Easy is truly the only member of Eclipsing Tide that Off the Za even has to fear, because the rest of them right now are a bunch of grasshoppers running at them.
Yeah, Bally is in a tough spot, but he does showstopper to safety, so Cam is the only one he's facing. Camille is in the area here. Hextech ultimate is popped. Can they get Victor down? No, Bally's really low. He has to use the W, but he is killed. Easy takes him down. So does the Camille. That's a double kill for Aphelios. 9 kills in the game. Nifty is in the area. Onslaught of Shadows is used defensively, trying to stay safe, but Kohi does not care. He is going to kill the Hecarim, and he is unstoppable going forward. A double kill handed over there, taking down the mid laner, and they are going to continue to chase. Heartbreaker does miss though, and they're going to back off. Oh, actually gets a triple off screen.
It's a case of doing a little bit too much, and this time Spy Kid went from, oh my god, the pathing. Oh, the auto pathing. That hurts. That's not even a mechanic. Oh my god. Penta?
Kohi, can he do it? No, he tried. You gotta respect it. The shutdown does go over to Easy, who's the one champion you don't want to get it, but I kind of respect the attempt.
Now listen, I get it. I really do. However, you're a jungler who's now down for Dragon, and you gave 1,000 gold to Aphelios. If they lose this game because of 1,000 gold shutdown on Aphelios, I understand one of the pentakill. I do, trust me. In Titan last year, I was 1 kill off, and my teammate stole it. I get it. But is it worth throwing a game going for that penta? That is a massive gold swing for Aphelios. Yeah, they're still up about 5k gold. However, the one person who has all of it, still the most gold in the match, more gold than Viego, is that Aphelios. And with Dragon up, your jungler now has to hexgate all the way over there, giving Eclipsing Tides a chance to walk in.
Oh, the hook missing from Nifty. Seems like kind of 50-50 throughout this match. And he gets it this time around, but onto Unaware Idiot, who had the CC immunity. So you are going to have a team fight here as the Hextech Dragon has spawned one more for Off to Za, and that will be the Soul. So obviously Eclipsing Tides has to do something to stop this. Can they get into the pit? Can they stop this push? Onslaught Shadows is used to try to kill it. Red team does get the Hextech Soul, though. You can try to trade the kills, though. We give up Soul, but we take your lives as Bally is unstoppable but dead. Double kill from Aphelios. He's gonna go for another one. Camille goes for the ultimate, but the shutdown on Viego. That's even more gold handed over to Cam. Victor gets his first kill of the game. Easy is pretty much one of the only people standing after that fight. Project Crisis is on the wrong side. Unaware Idiot does go where he pleases, but Everfrost can slow him down. Oh, they're both really low. I would not continue to chase if I was Mundo.
And it looks like Project Crisis is going to get away, but because that Aphelios was white and red, the majority of Off the Zaw ended up dead, and now it's Aphelios. He's looking to get that 5th item. You can see farming the camps. I imagine they got to be pretty close to it. It very well could be a GA, although with that stopwatch up, they're just going to be looking for someone to probably close out the build, really round it out, get some more damage, because at the end of the day, it is still easy against the world. However, Victor's starting to scale. Cam is getting closer to being able to back his homeboy up.
Yeah, still only 1 item, though, for the Victor at this point, so it's not like it's he's doing that great. He did get the shutdown, which helped propel him just a little bit more, but just with the crown on Victor's end, meaning it's not going to be a lot, especially with a defensive item like that. And then looking like you have a lot of the Zanya's portions built in as well. It's not a lot of damage that you can necessarily pop somebody with on the Victory just yet.
That's completely valid. However, one thing worth mentioning about damage is, of course, in that last fight, Off the Zaw may have died, but what they did claim was that Hextech Soul, the free static shiv, the added slow, and they are rived up and ready to go.
All right, you're gonna have a little bit of a thing at the red buff. Unaware Idiot has to try to walk away, pops a CC immunity to get through the cage there. Oh, the root landing on Kohei, but as it was kind of a fadeaway since nobody was there to follow up.
And it was a little bit of a threat, though, for sure. Look how much damage was done to that Viego. If he doesn't find a reset in fights, Aphelios is able to delete him pretty quickly. It's going to be on him to either find a good flangle or find someone low health, and that's when they engage. It's very much a skill-based matchup when these teams 5v5 now. You can no longer just trust Off the Zaw to win solely off gold because of that Aphelios.
Oh no, he's stunned. Lilac is the support, so obviously the frailest member of the the team and just takes 90% of his HP from the Vigar combo. So that's not what you want to see right before a big objective like the Baron that's spawning. That red side is heading over towards right here, 27 minutes into the game. Easy is in base as well. The Hecarim is not there to stop it either.
And that means they're going to be conceding the Baron. That might not be the best decision. However, you know what Eclipsing Tide are trying to do here. They know they have the towers to survive Baron if they're alive. That's what they're going to try to do. They might not defend the T2s, but they're looking to defend the T3s and get some more gold onto Aphelios, because in 2 minutes and 40 seconds, that Elder Dragon is up. And if they're going to win the game, it's off flipping that dragon and running down mid.
Yeah, well, let's find out. I guess that was Optiz's strategy a lot last week. You know, looking back in that best of 3 was just waiting 45 minutes for the decisive dragon fight and winning off of that and then finishing off the game. This time around, however, they are down a sizable amount of gold compared to being either even or ahead. So let's see if it works out for them. It's going to be on the back of Aphelios' guns.
Yeah, it certainly is. The question is Aphelios going to be able to complete GA before? They don't have to. They have the stopwatch. They're kind of chilling regardless. Yeah, maybe they'll just go and substitute up pot. Of course, Victor, still 2 defensive items. I don't know how I feel about that, to be completely honest. But it is how the state of the game is going. You can notice that at most, the teammates of Easy have 2 items, and he's sitting there on 5. However, when you look at Optiza, their whole team, they're all eating tonight. Of course, Viego even going with the IE build. Set's looking pretty strong. Vagar looking pretty omnipotent as well. And in a minute and a half, the name of the game is Peel for Easy.
Well, also, you know, looking at if the Aphelios doesn't have Guardian Angel, Viego does, at least in this match. So you know it's going to be, you're going to have to kill him twice essentially if you are Easy, which is no easy task, obviously, since Viego is so fed. And the Camille just saw with a quick trade up in top lane that even at 1 and 3, just had the, you know, how Camille exists. Those Cho'Gath ults on her Q are just popping this tank in Mundo.
And of course, Divine Sunderer, a big reason why, and almost a fully stacked Ravenous going into that Elder Drake. 40 seconds, that mid-prio obviously is going to be on off the Zaw, but it means Eclipsing Tide, they need to find a way to walk in. Or either they can try to push the mid-wave and go into the river, or they can just pray to God to run through their jungle as 5 and get to that Elder Drake, because if they lose Elder Drake, they lose this game. They need to fight it here. They need to pull out what's left in the tank. Everyone's backing. It's time for the final battle to commence. If off the Zaw win this, we're going to game 3. If Eclipsing Tide wins this game will continue. They might not be able to win off the Elder, but with a T3 tower being the only thing in the mid lane, it might just be their way to get to that second place position. Off the Zaw has the advantage by 8,000 gold, but they have Easy. They have the comeback kid, and they are about to collide.
And they also have the advantage by being in the river first, hiding in the bush. You have the death sentence. Can it land onto anybody? No. Mundo throws the Q, so they see it. The plan has been foiled. Death sentence misses as well onto Unaware Idiot there. So half health nifty. Project Crisis took a little bit of damage. Can Eclipsing Tides come back in this game? All of this gold down, all of these kills and objectives down, and they're down 4 dragons stacked to 0. This looks like a very difficult position for them to fight in.
Now, of course, the poke damage coming out. The dragon still uncertain, but Camille looking for a flank. There's good warding. Actually, Camille's looking to go push that bot wave. It means it might be Eclipsing Tide's chance to commit here before Camille potentially ends the game.
Yeah, what are you going to do? You have to decide. Do you want to stick around for this Elder Dragon, or are you just going to go back for the Camille? Onslaught Shadows is used, gets the fear, but to what end? He just dies instantly. Project Crisis gets the kill, and now it is just swarming into the mid lane. Nifty is down. Easy does kill the support, but that is just the support. Can he get everybody else? No! Camille shuts down Easy, and that is their biggest damage output is dead. A double kill for Camille, and then the Mundo goes down there. A double kill handed over for as Victor dies, handed to Viego. That is the ace. That is a 16-3 Viego, by the way, and that should be a game 3.
And I have to say, just looking at that fight, that Vhagar cage that was able to range off the team from going in with the Hecarim just did so much. Honestly, might have been the best play of the game, that little trap. And there it goes. Tower 1 falls. Tower 2 falls. And off the Zaw, standing tall, this series is going to go to Game 3.
And that's all we can ask for here in the Divinity League. The final match of the final week of the regular season will go to the final Game 3. Obviously a very exciting scenario for us, the viewers at home. A lot more dramatic and maybe upsetting for Eclipsing Tides, as they didn't want to see a Game 3, but from our perspective, it is really nice to see Off to Za bounce back like that.
And what is really interesting, one, just in the terms of this going to Game 3, it shows you how close the teams at the top of the table in this group really are. To go to a Game 3 between your second and third team, just especially consider, well, I guess they're both tied for second right now, but to decide who's going to get that second seed just means so much just to the talent of this league. But also, in the fashion that it happened, Game 1, we watch Eclipsing Tide absolutely stomp Off to Za. Off to Za then pretty well do the same, barring easy. We're going to Game 3. In both games, we noticed the team that had the earlier game team comp was the team to win the game. And what I want to see now, and hopefully we get it, is both these teams commit. Both these teams go for that early to mid comp, and both these teams take the knives to each other's throats and go hard at each other. That's what I want to see from this next draft.
Yeah, it'd be really cool if it was like, if this game goes 28 minutes, both teams lose. Like, that's how early game focused it is. I'm sorry, I just had to follow up like that.
Both teams get second place. Sorry, guys.
The Viego was so huge, right? Obviously, statistically, 16-3 in the match, but just the difference in play style from the tanky Maokai, who's just like kind of hanging around, not killing things, compared to the Viego going in, flashing, getting the kill in the bot lane, or excuse me, in the mid lane that the Maokai was not able to secure in the previous match. Like, those type of play style differences are what we wanted to see.
And the other thing now is that makes this next game really interesting. Now that we've seen all these different playstyles, all these different champions brought out between these two games, is what are the bans going to look like going into Game 3, right? Viego, almost certainly, even if you're not scared of it for some reason, which you totally should be, you don't want to face it again. You still don't want to face that Lucian Nami combo from earlier. You probably don't want to face the Nunu either. There are so many champions that are must bans that it's going to make it interesting to see where they dig into the pools.
Well, we're just going to have to find out, Romeo, when we come back, because for now we are going to take a break as we get prepared for this third and decisive match between Off to Za and Eclipsing Tides. And if those first two games are any indication, this Game 3 should be exciting, so don't go anywhere. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for joining us here for Game 3 coverage of Off to Za versus Eclipsing Tides. The winner of this match will be the second seed in Group B for the Divinity League here in Titan Esports in Romeo. That last game, that proved that Off to Za are not just going to go home. Like, they're not just going to be walked over for Eclipsing Tides to steal that second spot. They're going to have to earn it here in Game 3.
Neither of these teams are screwing around. This second seed can be the difference between an easy way to the finals versus being knocked out in the first round. Not saying that the teams down in 7th and 8th aren't, but it certainly is a high seed. It's the difference between fighting a team in 7th and a team in 6th, which is a very big thing. And it's just about making a name, because if these two teams meet in playoffs, you want to be the team there to have the mental boost saying, we beat you before, we'll do it again.
Hey, that could be good. Obviously, that's an intimidation factor. You have the momentum on your side if these guys meet in the finals or something like that in this last week, which you can somewhat view this. It's not technically true, but you can somewhat view this as a playoff match, right? Like, at least stakes-wise, there is enough drama and there's enough adrenaline on both of these sides for these teams to somewhat equate the nerves that a playoff match can provide.
And on top of that, too, like we were talking about momentum, this is to determine who gets the momentum going into playoffs, right? These teams have been on some pretty sizable winning streaks going into this game. And to be able to say, yeah, we conquered another match before playoffs is so big for the mental of players. Taking a loss before playoffs can do so much to the morale of your team. It's a hard thing to deal with, especially when it knocks you a whole position down in the leaderboard.
And I'm really excited to see how the draft plays out here in Game 3, as we have seen that they did not swap sides. So Eclipsing Tides is going to be blue side, and just like they did for all 3 games, they have banned Caitlyn first there. The Nami goes off. If I'm Off to Za, I don't care if you beat Aphelios. I don't think you actually beat Aphelios that game. I think you probably should ban it.
And I'm not so sure about the ASOL ban. I think Viego needs to go. I'm under the personal assumption as well, though. You don't want to fight that Veigar. There's the Viego. There's the Nunu. Not Aphelios? What?
It is still a hover, and they have banned Malphite in both games, so I guess they are really concerned about Unaware Idiot's Malphite. That lock-in is very curious because Eclipsing Tides can just first pick Aphelios.
What? We left the Aphelios up? I get it, you won. But your one threat was Aphelios. The Veigar, we're running it back. This is interesting. Can we see the Thresh? Can we get the Thresh? I don't want the Thresh, by the way. I don't think the Thresh was why they won that last game. Of course, Veigar are not locked in yet, but I don't think it's a bad idea. I'd say you already played the matchup once. Sure, run it again.
Yeah, and obviously the Veigar did pretty well in that match, a lot better than he performed on Jinx in Game 1 for Project Crisis, so you can still try to keep it as a flex, although it does appear that Bally at least today, likes to play these bruiser melee mid laners, so who knows if it is going to be the flex there. But if Thresh is locked in, that would just be a takeaway from Aphelios. Senna is hovered. There's 3 seconds left. Veigar Senna would be pretty oppressive, and it looks like it is going to be locked in.
I'm not a big fan. I can see you're excited with the Veigar Senna lane. However, again, I think early game has won a lot of these teams, right? And I don't consider Senna Veigar early by any means. And considering a lot of the fights have been happening in that bot river that have put the team ahead, we've always seen the first big fight in that bot river has kind of determined the game both times. Whatever team came out on the winning end of it has won. And committing to Veigar Senna, it's a good combo, but it's difficult.
Oh, the Jarvan wasn't banned this time around, so they are able to get Jarvan, who is one of the strongest junglers right now in the game, really focus early on, just like how Viego did in the last match. You can just try to get some of your lanes ahead. I like this Jarvan pick.
Yeah, it's been kind of what we've been waiting to see, right? Of course, you just mentioned Bando both times. Now it's brought out. Now we get to see the might. And now the Wukong brought out as the answer. This is going to make the entire map a little bit bloody.
Yeah, I obviously Wukong can somewhat match the Jarvan there, especially early as they try to fight over objectives. I just don't know if I feel how strong Wukong is right now compared to the Jarvan team. You're also fighting into an Ornn, fighting into potentially a strong support as well that's going to pair with the Aphelios to keep him safe there. So I don't know if I necessarily like the Wukong pick there, but I did like them taking Eclipsing Tides, I should say, taking the Ornn early here so it can't be banned away from them. That Mundo just really wasn't it last game.
Yeah, I think that's a valid answer. However, going to the Wukong thing real quick, I do think the only better pick you could have taken is Vi. However, with the way these fights have been going, Wukong has probably the strongest ultimate in the game when it comes to team fights. And I think that's the real reason to pick Wukong. You might not be as strong as J4 early, but once he hits level 6, if their team is still going, which their goal here clearly is to get to that 45-minute late game again, if he can hit 6 before a lot has happened, Wukong can start running through.
Yeah, that is a big if, obviously, though. So Swain was banned all 3 games. That is a potential flex on the other side, so that's why they don't like leaving the Swain up. And then Morgana taken away from the Aphelios there as a bot lane partner instead of maybe the more typical Thresh or even the Janna from last game.
I think that makes a lot of sense. Your team is set up a lot to have a lot of CC. Of course, Veigar Cage is what helped win a lot of the team fights for Optazah, and when a spell shield can just walk through all of it, it is pretty damning. So I think the Morgana ban makes a lot of sense. What I'm interested here, though, is what's going to be the pick into Ornn. Could we get an Olaf or something? We're going to get a Garen.
Oh, okay. It's time to spin to win here in the top lane for Optazah. I think... I can't remember if it was last week if Kobe played Garen one of the games. I know he played Darius and Mordekaiser. Can't remember, but obviously if you could play Darius and Mordekaiser, Garen is in your champion pool just by necessity there, and his Camille was banned this time around.
If you can play top, you can play Garen. The Beyblade will let it rip, and he will spin to win. However, is that a Seraphine mid or a Seraphine support? That is my curiosity here.
I don't know. I think I would probably want it to be support because we saw how well the Enchanter Janna was last time around with Aphelios in that last game. And I like Seraphine personally. Obviously, at these team fight compositions, you have the Cataclysm into Ornhorn. And if you get your Encore off at the perfect time, you can just really decimate their team. And they're bringing it back to the strategy that helped them in game 1, Eclipsing Tide on the rise.
And it's gonna be the answer mid. Surely it's not Diana. Surely we don't see that again. Maybe it's Garen mid. Who knows? However, we're gonna see what their answer is. I imagine it's gonna be a melee champ. It's gotta be a melee champ, right? Oh, there it is.
Oh no, it is Garen mid. If this Renekton gets locked in.
It's Renekton mid. It's Renekton mid. Don't worry.
Okay. I was worried at first. I'm like, okay, you're gonna bring the Renekton top lane.
If it's Garen mid, I'll lose. I think it's bad. I think it's really bad if it's Garen mid. If it's Renekton mid, I think it's interesting. One thing, so I think this match really tells the perfect story of everything that's been happening, right? We've seen Jarvan constantly banned out. He comes in, he's getting paired with a Seraphine. Great combination, great synergy there. Aphelios, well, he wasn't able to get his Lucian Nami combo, but the Aphelios is what popped off for Eclipsing Tide, what kind of held hope. Of course, the Ornn in the first game was such a smashing threat just by not needing to do anything and not letting Optazah do anything. And when he's against Garen here, if he's able to do the same thing, he's winning. And of course, that rise absolutely smashed it game 1 mid. Now, you look at the story on the other side. Optazah, the Veigar was a massive part of last game, a massive reason why they won. Even in just the season mode, they've been trying to scale completely up to that 45-minute mark. And again, we're seeing the melee mid, a strong oppressive force in the top lane, and a Wukong all clashing with Eclipsing Tide. What do you make of this game, Zen?
Well, I know we kind of disagreed as the bot lane was locked in with the Veigar Senna, where I was much more excited than you were. But, the only thing I'm thinking about is it a strong lane, like to just push and, get turret plates and whatever. No, but it's really annoying. And that's one of the things that can be helpful is if you just annoy the heck out of Aphelios, and every time he tries to push forward, you have your Cage or your Senna as well. She can shoot out her root as well. And then Vigar pops down with the extra damage. Like, there is a lot of synergy between the two of them. And this does call back to Oftaz's tendencies or their nature to try to scale and play for 45-minute Elder Soul fights. If they're at 45 minutes with a Senna and a Vigar compared to the Jarvan there, like I kind of like that.
Now, I guess you can say the bot lane of Oftazal won't be making the life of Eclipsing Tide easy.
No, but easy might make it easy as he is on his main. There is comfort in this pick as Aphelios, right? He's feeling hot since he performed so well, but also it is just in general his main champion. There's comfort as well on Rise for ET Cam in the last in game 1, I should say, had that really big performance, the 5-kill game on Rise. Jarvan's a power pick, comfort pick on Ornn as well, because they've been banning that against Unaware Idiot. Like, if I were leaning in a certain direction, I don't want to lean as a caster. Like, obviously, I'm excited for either of these teams to win, but if I were leaning on a team composition to perform better here, I would be tending towards Eclipsing Tides. How about you?
If I have to predict something here, I would have to go with Oftazal. Overall, I think, even though I'm not a huge fan of their bot lane combo, I think they have so much they can do to bring it to late game. A lot more than they had in game 1. And especially Renekton, now instead of having one champion, one AD champion to try to keep them going, they have Renekton, they have Wukong, they have Garen. And although I'm not super confident in the Veigar Senna to keep the lane 0-0, if even just Wukong, Garen, Renekton, if any of them can find themselves ahead, they can stall the game long enough for Veigar Senna to pop off. Now, before we continue the conversation, there is predictions going on in the chat right now. You can put some channel points on either Oftazal or Eclipsing Tide. Who you think's going to finish second right now? If we're looking at it, it is Eclipsing Tide with more channel points on them to win, but Oftazal winning the popularity vote.
Yeah, they might just have more fans watching at home that have the confidence in their team, right, to be putting their channel points on the line. I don't know about you, but like whenever I watch, like I have a bunch of channel points in the LCS and LCK and stuff. Even no matter how confident, it could be T1 versus a bunch of middle schoolers. I'll be like, I'll put 1,000 points on T1 here. Like, I just don't ever blow all my channel points. I don't know how you like to live with your channel points.
I got 40k right now, and if you're willing to put all your Titan channel points right now on Eclipsing Tide, I'll put all mine on Oftazal.
Oh man, hold on.
Right now, I'll put my entire put my entire 40k. I've been building it up since September. I'll put 40k right now on Oftazal. If you match it, put whatever you have on Eclipsing Tide.
I think it says I have 17,000. No,
I'll match it. I'll match your 17k.
Yeah. All right. I counted wrong, but yeah, we're going for it. Yeah.
I've thrown it in. I've matched you. Here we go.
Okay.
Here we go.
Hold on, 1 second. As they are getting ready, so we can just like talk through as they get ready for the video, because this is too exciting to take a break for. Honestly, like I talked about Vigar and Senna scaling. On the other end, you do have Ornn with his ornaments, right? He inherently makes everybody else stronger on his team. So some of those champions like Jarvan, who might try to fall off later in the game, is going to get a little bit of a boost from the Ornn. Aphelios, obviously incredible scaling. Rise, amazing scaler as well. So and then just on the other side, like the reason I'm betting those channel points is the Wukong Garen Renekton is just so solo queue, it hurts to me. Like I just don't really feel like that's the bring. And I could totally be wrong, and Renekton could be 5-0 10 minutes into the game. That might very well happen, Romeo. But like just looking at the comps, the solo, or it's not the solo, the low range mid laner yet again into the Rise. Like we saw what happened.
Now I gotta ask you though, what have both these games been? They've been bloody. They have been a massacre. And you know what Off-Dazah screams to me? It screams, put us in the gladiator pit. We're gonna go. We are going to run at you. We're gonna take our swords and we are going to stab until we either go down or we get through. And that's what I want to see. They are a team that's going to fight till the very end. Not that Eclipsing Tide won't. Their team comp is definitely. But the second a piece of Eclipsing Tide's team comp starts to fall, you see cracks. If Seraphine falls or misses the encore, we see cracks. If the Cataclysm messes up, we see cracks. If Aphelios isn't red and white, we see cracks. Off-Dazah, they are completely ready to go at all stages of the fight. And the other thing is, we've seen a big improvement from the mid lane of Off-Dazah. Set was committing. The problem with Diana, the only reason she was losing fights for the most part, was she wasn't committing. Now, if that Renekton sticks under the rise, like I'm praying to God they will, because it will make it really interesting. Not even just gonna have channel points. It's just a lot more interesting to see it played right. If that Renekton sticks onto the rise, it could be a bloody mid lane for either side. If he doesn't stick on, I completely agree with you. The rise is going to smash his face in.
Yeah, I just like your analysis of like they have this baby proof comp of like, oh, the comp just works so well that if they don't die, they just win like that. Like yeah, the Renekton can dash forward into the Rise's face and try to wreck him, but so can Diana, and that didn't work out that great for him the last time.
It didn't.
Around,
but he didn't play it right. In fairness, it was played. He played last game properly. Game one, like we talked about it after. The idea was there. In practice, it failed. Set once again, the idea was there, but the idea was executed properly. The idea is once again here. Are we gonna see a game 1 performance or a game 2 performance? That's the question.
Oh, I really have no idea. I see the chat is animated as well, as this is obviously a lot on the lines, and if it's going to be this dramatic just to finish off the regular season, Romeo, I can't even imagine how exciting the playoffs are going to be. But I know we are very close to getting into the game. You know where we stand. You know where we like these predictions. I've predicted that Eclipsing Tides will win. Romeo's predicted Off-Dazah to win, and obviously only one of us will be victorious unless we do like some weird Hunger Games blueberries scenario where we both win.
Sorry, guys. Like he predicted, it's going to be a tie. Both these teams are going to be second seeded, and we're just going to give the points back to everyone.
That predicted tie just wins 1 million points.
He bet on green, and the roulette wheel's on green. It's on green. But I think we are going to go for a quick break, and then we will head to the Rift. Stay tuned. We'll be back in 30 seconds to see, is it going to be Eclipsing Tide or Off-Dazah to get the second seed? Stay tuned, Titan Universe.
There has been a monetary misuse of funds in the channel points, as I did not have 17,000 channel points. I thought I did. I only had 1,700. So unfortunately, Romeo has put an additional 0 onto the channel bet that I had available.
It's okay. I got to fall back. I got 23K more to go. But I have to say, every time I've been on the Titan cast, every time last season I got to cast the fall split, luckily, and the playoffs ended with a base race between, or second round was a base race between EDE and another team. I forget what it was, but it was awesome, right? The last cast I did was a 45-minute banger. And now this series is all coming to a halt, and I expect to see, not a halt, but I mean, it's kind of a standstill right now, but I expect to see another banger. I feel like every time I'm on the Titan cast, the last match of the night is always massive, and that's all I can expect here from Eclipse and from Off the Zaw.
And that's what we love to see, obviously. Like, just the Game 3 in general is what makes it exciting in the amateur leagues right here. The back and forth, the development of the metagame within the metagame of a best-of-3 set is really exciting to see how these players are able to adjust. Now, easy, remember, just because you accidentally dodged the hook last game at level 1 doesn't mean they're not going to go for something similar. Nifty decides he doesn't want to sit in the brush any longer there. And Nifty also can't miss hook level 1 since he doesn't have one.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't really know what bush cheese they were going for though. They're Vagar Senna. Like, a little bit. I think you're just there to make sure that Seraphine's not poking you, which is fair enough, but it ain't gonna be a cheese like last game, and rightfully so, because then I might have had to do another Pepe clip.
Oh wait, easy started call. Is this like super like disrespect, like I'm so good I'm gonna win this lane? Or
no, it's
is this
simulator.
the play?
It's Farming Simulator. Your Vagar Senna against Seraphine Aphelios. I think this might be the only game we see the junglers focus the top side. However, we're only going to see it one. Cole is going to the top side, and Jarvan's going to the bot side. Honestly, I feel like that should be kind of flipped, no? Have the Wukong go bot, because Garrett's going to be permanently pushed in.
Yeah, and obviously the Wukong can help if you assume that Veigar and Senna are going to be pushed in more often than Garen would be. It would be like a safer gank to have if Zon, Lilac, and Easy are pushed up forward there and out of position. But for now, nothing crazy happening yet. There hasn't been any ganks from either of the junglers, but we expect soon from both the Jarvan and the Wukong, obviously, like to have a little bit of plant their flag, for lack of a better word, into the ground in the early game here and, stamp how it works out.
Now, I do have to say, it's a little bit of a safer style, right? Of course, when I see Jarvan's, I usually see 2 camp, 3 camp. We're getting the full clear into a back even. Really a much safer play from both these teams. Nobody's really done a lot of action. Hell, Jarvan didn't even go for that Skeleton Crab.
No, there was the top side, I'm confused. Jarvan and Garen, they're friends. They're both in Demacia, right? So have some similar platings
Not
there.
tonight.
No, not tonight. They are sworn enemies here in Titan Esports. There, flashing forward from Ko. He is not able to stop Cam though, so he's just gonna walk away, and that is a cooldown blown. I know you said junglers don't care about their flash as much as solo laners do, but obviously it's still kind of a wasted potential there.
I guess, but if that's the reason that Cam flashed, it means Bally has flash over Cam. The second that stun's up and Cam's in a position, it means Bally can just sit on him and there's nowhere he can go.
Yeah, that is a good point. Obviously, while Kohi might be affected negatively from losing his flash, it might help out the Renekton, and that cage helps out the bot lane push from off to Za, as Zon Lilac is put really low, has no mana pretty much as well. So Easy might be full health, but it's not like the Seraphine can be too much help to him right now.
No, that heal, of course, also being born to keep Lilac alive, and it was just a centimeter past, and she would have escaped the cage. A lot of poke damage, but this early in the game, it won't mean that much. Of course, Vagar and Senna, though, happy to sit there and stack.
Yeah, that is one of the things they do very well, but already Aphelios has already gotten, 39, I should say, CS done, and the Seraphine had to back for her tier. You gotta start stacking that up. Even as a support, I agree, trying to rush your tier as fast as possible to get that additional mana and extra, once you get the cooldown boots as well, trying to be able to be as effective in team fights as you can. But here we are, 5.5 minutes into the game, and the dragon goes over to off to Za.
Of course, a little bit new. Last couple of games, we've mostly seen the Dragon being taken around the 10 minutes mark before they started stacking, but also in both the games, we've seen a soul sweep. This time, the first Dragon being picked up a lot earlier, where the teams are realizing, well, if both these games went to soul sweep, time to pick it up a little bit more early. Time to start this stacking. The acceleration of gameplay, the noticing of the little maneuvers of what's been winning has been clearly picked up by Off the Zaw.
Yeah, that Vernekton has really been bullying Rise much better in this scenario than the Diana worked out for him last time around in game 1, right? So I think that's something that Rise has to be aware of. Sure, you're stacking your tier up nicely, but as you have hit level 6, Vernekton's team fight, or I should say offensive ultimate, is going to help him a lot more in that 1v1 fight against Rise than he would have. So you can try to just recall if you are Rise and TP back just to get refill on the mana so you can continue to stack it up.
Yeah, you certainly can. Of course, that would mean that Bally can try to get the wave in a good position and TP back as well. However, it's not necessarily something we might see. They are getting a little bit of damage on the Bally, of course, from them being a ranged champion. The one big thing to note, though, is in a minute that Rift Herald is going to spawn.
Yeah, but no gold advantage right now, and it's not like anyone has a big push on their plates or anything like that on the turrets. Not a lot of jungle interference, I should say, so far, besides that one gank in the mid lane that forced out the flash from Rise. They are fighting here as Ornn is in the area to protect his jungler. Kohi is gonna have to walk away, but Kobe is in the area as well. Could be potentially a 2-on-2 situation, but no, they decide cooler heads prevail.
It's a good rotate, and one thing to notice about this game is, yeah, there's been no kills. This has been the longest in any game in the series to go without first blood. At the same time, it feels like they're fighting more. There's a lot more interactions. Every lane is beating the hell out of each other, but nobody has gone down.
And that's kind of a benefit in different scenarios, right? It's good for Unaware Idiot. He's not feeding Garen, but it's also good for the Veigar and Senna because they're not feeding the Aphelios there. So it's not like either of these teams comes out on top from a more slower paced game necessarily.
No, certainly not. Of course, you can make the argument that, yeah, Veigar and Senna outscale, but Aphelios is going to come online earlier than either of them. So if they can get to that point where Aphelios and Seraphine and Ornn come online, it's still in the advantage of Eclipsing Tide. You can say they're on a bit of a timer, but that timer's like 45 minutes.
And it will be delayed thanks to Ornn, right? And Aphelios, as you're mentioning, and obviously someone like the Seraphine as an enchanter, you can, as your teammates' health scales up and you heal them up, you can somewhat scale as well next to them because you're providing more utility the longer the fights and the longer the games go on there. He's out of mana on Zon Lilac, so not going to be able to finish off or even try to continue onto the Veigar there. But the Rise has been half health for a lot of the game, but it doesn't seem to be affecting Cam too negatively. He's still very comfortable.
And of course, his flash back up. Worth mentioning, Senna was committed for that Rift Herald, and although it was picked up, it means the CS advantage has gone over
Nifty,
to Veigar.
Yeah, Nifty had to flash there because obviously Spy Kids lands the flag and drag into Cataclysm. Could have been disaster, so might as well just blow the flash to keep your life.
Yeah, I heard the gasp from you. You seen the angle there. And Spy Kid was ready to go like a Russian spy interrogating the enemy jungler. Almost was able to find the kill on Nifty, but because of that flash, they weren't. But let's mean if he decides to keep focusing that bot side, he could find a kill very soon. Of course, though, Wukong's been punishing him pretty well, going into that jungle, taking the Gromp. He's had great objective control, and is that going to continue when that Cloud Drake's up? Oh, God.
Oh, the E hits the knockup onto Kohi. He has to flash forward, but he doesn't flash over the wall, so the ult has to be used, and 3 people in the area. Cataclysm popped. First blood for Spy Kid, first blood for Eclipsing Tides.
And I wonder if the W was up there. I imagine not, because that wall, of course, could have been W'd through if it was. However, it's a big first blood. It's the start of a lead. And anytime we've seen a start of a lead, it tends to side with that team. Eclipsing Tide, it's got to feel nice to get that. And of course, with Jarvan going the Gore Drinker route, he's going to be more oppressive than something like a Radiant Jarvan. So that first blood being on him does actually make a difference.
Kobe going to walk forward onto Unaware Idiot, just to the silence, a little bit of damage there. Aphelios is prioritizing the Bloodthirster this time around. Encore hitting both Veigar and the Senna, though. So Project Crisis is down. Easy gets his first kill of the game. Nifty looks like he's in danger, and Bally is trying to bail him out, but he cannot. He has to flash over the wall for his own safety. Wukong is in the area just so Renekton can get out, but that is 2 kills handed over to Eclipsing Tide's bot lane.
That's really going to hurt off the Zod. They committed the Rift Herald top to try to lure them away, but they stuck to their guns, found the winning fight, and that means your Rift Herald's down, Dragons are tied up, and it's now 3-0 for Eclipsing Tide, the 1,000 gold lead. It's not much, but it's a start, and anytime we've seen them off the start, they get strong and they run wild. The question is that going to be the same here tonight in this game 3?
Yeah, and the two solo lanes, like we talked in the draft phase about Garen and Renekton, they can push forward. You can even have, you suggested Wukong focusing and prioritizing top lane to get the, or not going top because he was going to be fine on his own and going mid or bot lane. Instead, there have been no kills from either Renekton or Garen, so not doing too much. The root, though, on Nifty's going to bring him down really low as Seraphine does chase Senef, just barely getting out of the way to safety. Spy Kid not able to come on that gank to provide any kills or anything like that, and Kohi was in the area too.
As we've said in game 1 and 2, not even close. Actually, so far from getting that kill. So it totally wasn't sitting. Like, I'm pretty sure her HP was the same as her deaths, but like not even close.
I like the way you think, because as long as you don't die, it's not even close.
Yeah, no, like if you didn't die, did it really happen? It's like if a tree falls and no one's around to hear it, did the tree really fall? Probably not. Did it make a sound? No. Well, then it wasn't close.
Well, I don't know if that's how. I don't know if it fell, because when you go into the forest, you see the tree on the ground. The argument is, did it make a sound? Because if you weren't there to hear it, how would you know it made a sound? We all saw it. We all see it has fallen. It's not standing anymore.
Listen here, Zeb. Okay? I want you to lose your 1,700 channel points even more.
You know what? That's understandable.
Fine. If aliens land and no one's around to see it but the U.S. government, did aliens really land?
Well, we might find out like 60 years later or something like that. It seems
you
to
know,
be how
you know what we'll find out in less than 60 minutes, though?
What's that?
What team's gonna be second seeded?
Ooh, I like the way you think. That's a little more focused on the task at hand instead of the government 60 years from now telling us about aliens. But Spy Kid's going to be chased down by Kohi. Does have Cam in the area to keep him safe, so Wukong will not continue to press forward. And here we are, 30 seconds left before the turret plates will drop. Can Rise get one last turret plate in these 20 seconds? No, he's going to back off.
And that, of course, means a lot of the platings weren't taking this game. Encore whiffed! And that is pretty big if you're the bot lane of Optazal. You have about 80 seconds of peace and farming. I am curious to know what Senna and Veigar's stacks are right now. Of course, gold-wise, it's not looking like that big of a difference. It's really, I guess it actually is bigger than it looks. It's over 1,000 gold extra onto the Aphelios. But you look and it's not, that's pretty much the entirety of the gold gap between these two teams.
Yeah, and if I was off Jazza, if I was say Nifty, I would have been spam pinging Seraphine's ult. I would, just seeing it constantly in the chat to let Wukong know they have no ult, Aphelios no flash, Seraphine no flash. Like, that would be the moment that you can come in and you have the advantage. You have your ultimates. Obviously, Wukong has flash as well. Oh, Nifty's brought down really low. Easy had all that range, was not able to finish it off there. He can't come, Wukong can't come now, but like, that's something that could have been used in that moment to punish the Seraphine for whiffing her ult.
Now, of course, you can see on screen here, 90 stacks on that Veigar, almost at 100. That is some really good stacking 15 minutes into the game. And Senna, halfway to that 100. They are getting to the point where they're going to be coming online by that 30-minute mark. The question is it going to hit there, of course? 1.5k gold, and they're looking for that Herald. It's pretty well uncontested, and I don't really think you can. If you're looking for a fight, it's probably at that Dragon.
Unaware Idiot's just going to try to keep Kobe in the area so he can't help. The red team steals the Rift Herald. Kobe is able to take it away. That would have been huge for Eclipsing Tides to get that. Cyclone is popped onto Spy Kids and Jarvan is down. Garen has to spin to win though, however, to re-get the kill onto Seraphine, so you do trade 1 for 1, but the Rift Herald steal was huge.
Like a Beyblade, they let it rip. That's Herald claim. That's a kill onto their side. They're now only down 1,000 gold, and of course that Rift Herald could be the difference. They're going to be looking for that tower mid. Bot tower did fall. First tower was picked up during that time by Eclipsing Tide, but now all the advantage at this moment is on off the Zaw. They've spawned that Herald top side. That means they're going to have the pressure and can look to claim that second dragon. And considering dragons are being completely taken off spawn, I wouldn't be surprised to see the full team rotate over.
Ooh, Flash W from Renekton. Belly is going to stun him long enough for Project Crisis to get the kill. Unaware Idiot with the Senna W is not going to care since he is unstoppable. And another Encore heading into the crowd, just missing the important champions on the other side.
It's 3-3 in terms of kills. The Encore is missing from this fight, but so is a lot of the entirety of the ultimates from off the Zaw. It is still a tough fight for them to play, but they have a little bit of an advantage. The Cataclysm has been ripped. What do you make of this, Zem?
Yeah, well, it was used, but he didn't really get anything out of it. Unaware Idiot with the Flash E forward, though, for Kohi is going to get him there. Easy gets the kill. Aphelios is just so strong. Even when they're trying to run away, he does not let them, and they, on Eclipsing Tides, are going to be able to get their second dragon of the game. It's not going to be a clean sweep, though, like we saw in the first two games there, since it is 2-1 right now. And we do have the, the foresight of knowing that Off the Zaw likes to play games where they trade dragons back and forth, what we saw from last week. So it's not the end of the world for them to lose that second dragon.
Now, of course, they did manage to get a second tower top lane, though. During that time, they have a very, very slight gold lead. It's about 300 gold. This is the closest we've ever seen these two teams. 17 minutes and a half into this game. A long lane created for Garrett on the top. That's a lot of pressure, almost constant pressure. And with Baron in 2 minutes, that can be a difference maker when the big objectives come onto the table. Of course, both mid turrets, though, still standing. It is a top side gap for off the Zaw, but a bottom side gap on Eclipsing Tide.
And Blade of the Rune King completed for Renekton. Didn't show that off yet. I didn't talk about that yet. That's a nice little nod to our friend Daz, as he would like to call it Borknekton. He is a big fan of Borknekton, tries to build it in pretty much every game that he can. So it makes a lot of sense into the opposing side with Ornn and Jarvan as well. But I just wanted to have a little bit of a call out for our friend Daz, since he's a big Borknekton fan.
Yeah, absolutely. And here we go, another fight breaking out in the mid lane, maybe. Call the Rift God, call the Forge God used, but I mean, we're going to have a Rift God soon if Easy is able to keep stacking this gold.
And then Encore is popped as well. What are we doing with these linear ultimates, just whiffing them in the open, in the wide open, when even if they land, what's going to come from it? They're under turret.
Oh, come on. You land the Encore and it looks nice. You get to hear a nice singing voice. Of course, KDA back in town. Now, if you're looking around the map, though, a lot of vision control on that bot side jungle, but not as much on the top. I actually kind of feel like if you're looking at vision, Eclipsing Tides got a lot in deep wars that haven't been found because they're just not checking the bushes. But of course, here we go. The big pause, the anticipation building, the suspense is building, and our vision is locked on this lightly yellow tinted screen, looking like the Mexico filter from Breaking Bad.
Yeah, this is the real strat. Make the game 3 take even longer by adding IRL pauses to it. So if it's a 40-minute game, but you pause for 10 minutes, you made it a 50-minute game. Love to see the strats.
Now, the thing, though, is at this point in time, what we get to talk about is who has the advantage. When you look at gold, it's even. But when you look at the team comps, that bot lane, Project Crisis, and Nifty are doing their job perfectly. They've not died, and yeah, maybe they didn't necessarily win the lane, but really, these bot lanes are pretty even. Yeah, Eclipsing Tides ADC Easy has gold over, but when you factor in the stacking that's been occurring, you can make an argument that the bot lane of Off the Zaw are keeping up, and here we go. We're back into the action, and instantly a fight breaking out.
Unaware Idiot is going to be camped here. Garen doesn't kill with the ult, but he does follow up, and Kobe does get his second kill of the game, though. That was a lot committed there just to kill an Ornn by himself, so might not have those cooldowns for a fight in the future. And obviously Easy did come back into the game here, but it is tied in kill count and close in the gold. Can Bally do anything against Cam? No, it looks like Victor's just gonna force him off.
Now, of course, though, with no objectives up, not having the ultimates up might not be the worst thing. It beats the Cosmetic Seraphine Encore, of course. However, Baron does spawn in 10 seconds. I don't imagine any team's going to go for it, but now that threat is going to be around.
Yeah, and the Rod of Ages is at, I believe it's at 5 minutes right now on the completion, so it's halfway through if I'm looking at it correctly there. Once that's completed, obviously going to be really strong, and then, of course, Rise can scale even further into the game, obviously with his tier, but then with his Mythic and Ornn on the Ornament later on as well will be able to help Cam scale even more.
Yes, it certainly will. Oh my god, they're posturing around Baron. We might see a Baron fight break out. This could break the game wide open if one of these teams are to get the giant purple worm. The posture's up, the death bush is here. Great vision control still from Eclipsing Tide. However, the Renekton's bot, he has TP. There's a double TP on off the Zaw, only not in the conditional way. It's Veigar and Renekton, rather than the top laner having it in a little bit of a fight breaking out here.
Yeah, I don't know if I would have liked to see the Baron fight this early, because the last 2 games when they went for the 20-minute Baron, there was a sizable gold lead. You had a massive advantage. This time around, it's very close to even, so cooler heads will prevail there, and they're not going to try to go for a 20-minute Baron, instead just trying to play it a little bit safer, which I respect.
Now, it is worth mentioning there is a bounty on the board, of course. Garen was sitting on 150 gold bounty, and Dragon coming up. Are they on Baron right now? Map position dictates that they are, and they are going for this 20-minute Baron.
And Wukong's bot lane. He's bot lane. He thought, okay, they backed off. I can continue to push with Renekton, but no, it's at 4,000 health. Wukong is not going to be able to get there in time. Can Project Crisis do anything? No, Jarvan gets the Baron. So kind of a misplay by Kohi that just because they didn't start the Baron doesn't mean that they wouldn't stay in the area. And once he showed bot with the Renekton, that was the go button.
And that Baron can be game-changing. Nobody died, sure. And yeah, even with the 1500 off the Zaw, still up a little bit of gold, but it's the pushing power. It's the ability to be able to break open the map. And the other thing is, they've almost confirmed themselves that 3rd Inferno Drake, which is gonna put them on Soul Point. It looks like a fight's still gonna break out over it, although I don't think it favors off the Zaw at all when they have the Baron buff.
No, they do have all their ultimates, it looks like, as well on Eclipsing Tides end, so if you want to fight, it will be at your own risk. Garen and Renekton are in the area, though. They do like to skirmish, can potentially get into the back line and mess up the Aphelios there. Dominus is popped from Valley. Ornn is going to use his ultimate. He gets the stun in the Cataclysm, and Kohi's just stuck there. He has to use the Cyclone to get out. Easy as so! Well, Gare's trying to chase him, but he cannot finish it off. The Bloodthirster really helping out there. Kohi is not able to get there either. Easy just sticking around against all odds. Shuts down the Garen. Nifty. Oh, I thought he would have got the kill, but Nifty is not able to be taken down there.
He ball played, but he had too much range. Oh, but what a fight once again. Completely even. However, the jungler on Eclipsing Tide still remains, which means that Inferno Drake still likely going to go to them. That Veigar doesn't have the mana, but Bali says he has something for it. Project Crisis being forced to follow here.
I mean, you might as well try, but he does have full rage, so obviously if he wanted to get a little healing back, he could have, but uses half of it to dash out, and that will be the 3rd dragon of the game for Eclipsing Tides. They are 1 away from Soul.
So the Baron timer has been burnt down a bit. There's only a minute left. It's only on J4 and Ornn. But with that threat of Soul, it means if you're off the Zaw, you have to win that next dragon. You have 5 minutes to prepare for the fight of your life, for the fight that very well will determine whether or not you get that 2nd place seed. Is it possible to win against a team with Inferno Soul? Yeah. Is it something you want? Oh God, no. Especially when that Inferno Soul would be coming at around the 29-minute mark. That is still not enough scaling for Veigar and Senna necessarily. However, Veigar's got a lot of gold. Senna's got a lot of stacks. But on the other side, Aphelios has a lot of gold. Aphelios has the ornament up. It is still a very, very even game, but if that Inferno Soul is claimed, we see it broken wide open.
And it just ticked over for 10 minutes onto Rise, so he is level 16 now on this pick. His Rise was so impactful in game 1. Can Cam provide the same performance here in this decisive game 3? Cage does not stop Eclipsing Tides from securing that mid lane turret tier 1 finally.
And 2 minutes and 45 seconds till Baron. 3 minutes and 45 seconds until Dragon. Of course, the minute difference there. I assume we'll be seeing Cole sticking towards the top side when that Baron's up this time. That mid turret has fallen though. Optazal has no more T1 mid protection, which is really useful if you're Eclipsing Tide. However, that long lane's still in the top side, which means Baron pressure should hypothetically be on the side of Optazal.
And gold is literally even at this point. However, it depends on who has the gold, right? Aphelios has a significant lead over the Vigar when it's also total gold in the game. Ornhorn used there to knock up Nifty, but he's just going to walk away. No, E forward for the second knockout, and Nifty is down. Easy gets the first kill. Project Crisis is all by himself. Encore finally lands. That's what happens when Seraphine uses her ult properly. You get the shutdown. Spy Kids kills the opposing jungler, and that is 3 dead.
He really laid his claim, put the flag in the back of Wukong and said, "This is my jungle now." The problem we see in Cole, very heavily second guessing. Do I go in to save him? Do I not? Commits the save right when the Encore gets sent out. And now there is so much value for Eclipsing Tide. They get the T2. They're looking for the T3. They're gonna find it. Hell, they might even find the inhib with a minute and 30 to Dragon and Baron. Well, a minute 30 till Baron, 2 minutes till Dragon. That inhib's gonna be down. That mid wave's gonna be pushing, and they're looking for the T3 bot as well.
What can Valley do? He pops a Dominus, but he's rooted and stunned and dead before he can do anything. This powerful combo on the other side just completely destroying Renekton. He was 2-0. He was one of their strongest members, and he couldn't do anything against the onslaught that Eclipsing Tides had right in his face, and now they can reset right before the potential Baron or just try to push out one of the lanes again as they did get those inhibitors.
And of course, Aphelios now 6-1-4. Spy Kid 3-1-7. These are KDAs that truly make a difference. So much gold. The IE now on Aphelios. The Gale Force, the Bloodthirster, the Berserker Graves. Aphelios is looking powerful as they walk towards this Baron. And Veigar's still in the base, defending, of course. The double TP does allow him to do it safely to still get there before a team fight breaks out. But now, the biggest gold gap we've seen this game, 4,000 gold onto the side of Eclipsing Tides.
And just remember, they could have banned Aphelios. That, you know, obviously off to Zod, they're like, oh, well, we won the game even though Aphelios was fed, so Aphelios wasn't the problem. Well, it looked like Aphelios might be a problem in this game. As the Baron spawns, they are in the area. Rise helps get everybody into the pit. Can off to Zod respond fast enough? Kohi already stole a Rift Herald earlier on in the game. It's in the same pit, but he can't get there in time. He gets over the wall just to see the Baron has been slain. Kohi is dead, and so is Kobe. Renekton, I don't like his odds either. Nifty and Project Crisis, they don't stand a chance as Vigar goes down. It's just Senna left. A triple kill for Aphelios. 5-on-1 with the Baron push, with the inhib already down as well.
The Rise TP, the Baron, they're looking for the end, and it looks like they're gonna find it.
Yeah, they are pushing into it, and there's nothing she can do. She can recall all she wants. Kobe's leaving the game just like a solo queue Garen does well, and Eclipsing Tides is going to win this set 2-1 and be the second seed out of Group B here in the Divinity League.
What a series we just witnessed. Both teams fought like hell in that last match, but ultimately the team that could scale first was the team to make it. So many good fights this game. It was very, very strong. We went almost 10 minutes before a first blood broke out, and what a series we seen. Congratulations for Eclipsing Tide. They're going to get that second seed going into the Divinity playoffs.
Congratulations to me. I have more channel points now for the next time around.
I still have more channel points than you. you, though, so it's fine. I'll bet you again in playoffs. Hey, listen, your real casting partner may be back, but I'll be here. I'll be watching from the chat.
Okay, all right, we'll see. You know, I have more to play with, right? But no, obviously, Eclipsing Tides just playing really well. The Aphelios, even though this game, like, he didn't get 12 kills super early, he still finished with a whole bunch of kills in the end. He was still a problem, and I understand the Malphite ban all 3 games. Like, you don't want to face it when you have Wukong, Garen, Renekton. I understand not wanting the Malphite, so that's why it was banned there. But like, I feel like you could have just flexed around a little bit. It was more easy to build around the Malphite than it was on Easy's Aphelios, who was his one trick.
Certainly, I completely agree with you that Aphelios needed to go down, and ultimately it didn't, which really did cost them as we went later to that match. That Aphelios managed to pop off. The other thing that I think was a major issue we seen from Off-Dazah happened in the jungle. They played great the first 2 games, but this game, we've seen a lot of positioning errors, a lot of him not being on the side of the map with the objective or showing up to the objective late. And although we've seen a great Rift Herald steal, stealing is not reliable if you're not there. And that's something that definitely needs to get cleaned up going into playoffs. The other thing that Off-Dazah does too, though, is they play weird mids, which once they're scouted by teams like Eclipsing Tide or the first place team in this league, it's going to not work anymore. Because the real thing with a melee mid is you get like unconventional too, like Renekton, Diana, Set, is you win the lane because the enemy doesn't know how to play against it. But people learn, people adapt, and that's kind of the thing with Off-Dazah. People are now adapting to how they play, and that's where the mistakes are being made.
Yeah, definitely. I that's how we started the day out, Romeo, as well, or the night, I should say, is talking about how last week Off-Dazah played 3 45-minute matches where they waited for the dragons and tried to finish the game with scaling, and that was scouted out by Eclipsing Tides in game 1. And so if you're going to play these close range or melee mid laners continually, that will be scouted out, and teams are able to adjust to that play style. So Off-Dazah, I hope this is like somewhat of a learning lesson for them, that unfortunately they did lose this match in the fall to the 3 seed, I believe. Actually, depending on one of the other matches, could be 3 or 4 seed, depending on how that
rough spot to fall
works out there, right? But like, going into playoffs, you have to have something, and they had some things like they saved the Vygar ADC right in game 2. They have the potential to have a surprise factor on their end, but then when you just play the same archetype of mid laner all 3 games as well, you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot when you pick the Vygar out as a surprise, or the Camille, you save that for Red 5-2. You can't like do both.
Yeah, I completely agree. The other thing too is, we did notice shades of them being able to play cohesively as an earlier game team, and in that last match, they really committed to having a team that was willing to scale late, especially that bot lane of Senna Veigar. Even though the Senna did a great job at rotating in game 2, and to see the difference, there's definitely stuff they can adapt to, but they're going to need to do it before playoffs. And of course, that's going to be why we're here. This was the last streamed game of the season. Today marks the last day of the season for Divinity before we go into playoffs.
Yeah, it should be exciting. One thing before we just like close out the show, Romeo, is I always like to do, I always like to give a player of the series, and usually there can be some debate back and forth. But I think this time around, it's got to be Easy, right?
Oh, absolutely. I think Easy, all 3 games, Easy did so well on just being the most consistent player there is. Now, don't get me wrong, Eclipsing Tide clearly know their strengths and they play to it. They are a team that, for the most part, play towards Easy, and that doesn't mean that any other player on the team doesn't deserve to be recognized. However, Easy was just consistent. He popped off, and that's both credited to his positioning, his play style, his picks, but also we got to keep in mind his support, of course, was very strong. Aside from a couple times where they got picked, Lotus did a great, phenomenal job at making sure Easy was able to have an easy time in lane.
And, our production team behind the scenes really wants to shout out some of the other players on the team. Like Cam played incredibly well in the mid lane against those melee mid laners in all 3 of the matchups. But you know what I say to our Titan Esports team is there's only one player of the series. This isn't 8-year-old playing soccer where everybody gets a trophy. It's got to be Easy's trophy.
Yeah, Easy's the one who's getting away without having to take the participation medal home tonight, but instead the gold medal, and is one of the major reasons Eclipsing Tide get to sit there and be second seeded. That can be very, very nice. You're going into the playoffs, you get to keep your momentum rolling. The Tides are becoming the tsunami, and they're ready to roll through those 3 rounds and become Divinity champion if they can make it there.
All right, fine. Honorable mention to Spy Kids. I've been coerced into saying it though, but Easy still is the player of the series. I have the standings up on my side here, Romeo, and seeing obviously PF Enforcers are 7-0, so they finished the regular season undefeated.
Incredible.
Really
That's
impressive.
Incredible.
Eclipsing Tides 5-2. Even Snapdragons, they won the other games, so Oftazah actually falls to the 4th seed out of Group B. Very heartbreaking for them to fall. Had a chance at 2nd, and you finished 4th. And then on Group A's end, we have Team Ambition Crab Wranglers, who are regulars on the stream here in Divinity League. TD Normandy, CB, they're Tenebris Esports Ethereal, so I had to say that correctly, and then CB Rangers. So those are our 8 teams making it to the playoffs.
That is a stacked playoffs. A lot of teams I've heard of, a lot of teams I've had the chance of casting. PF Enforcers, absolutely an incredible team. I would genuinely be kind of surprised if they don't make it to finals, especially with that. But of course, on the other side, Team Ambition, a well-known org, always have consistent finishes. The one thing is they don't always make it they usually make it far in playoffs, but they don't always come out on top. So that's going to be definitely an interesting story to see from the Crab Wranglers, who sound like they did a great job. And of course, I heard one of CB's teams makes it. I've had the pleasure of being on CB's cast for the NACL, and hell, their org is set up so nicely. Their training, their coaching, and their teams. It's an organization that really want to make it far. And even being at the bottom of that group, they're a team that can adapt really well, so I wouldn't be surprised to go so far. And of course, with TD Normandy, I get to talk about the Church of Nate Striker. I'm his #1 fan, I like to think. Nate Striker, an absolute legend in any league he plays in. One of the best mid laners or ADCs you can find. And I can only imagine that man is going to strike his way through playoffs as far as he can.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting. So if you do want to stay up to date on when our Divinity League playoffs are happening and our stream matches, those playoff matches are best of 5s, which is obviously a different scenario than the regular season that has been best of 3 the entire time. A little more dramatic, and that's all we can ask for from our perspective on the stream. Make sure you do follow here along on Twitch. Turn those notifications on so you know when we go live. Of course, follow us in our other divisions as well, where you're more likely to see Romeo casting in some of those leagues. He's filling in here in the Divinity League, but you can get more Romeo if you follow as well. And that's who we all need, more Romeo in our lives.
Hell yeah. We also need more Zem in our lives because, of course, phenomenal cast tonight. Great play-by-play as always. And, I mean, he also looks cute. So talk about how cute he looks in chat, guys.
Oh, my God. Please do not. Lam is ready to all caps talking about how cute I am. But it is, I appreciate it, Lam. I love the love, and I appreciate it, Romeo. It's been an absolute pleasure to cast this week with you. Very excited for the playoffs. Daz hopefully will be back because he should actually be in America by now. When we started, he was in Canada. I'm pretty sure he's back in America right now. So hopefully when the playoffs start, Daz will be back on the cast. But Romeo, it's been a pleasure. Thank you everybody who has watched, and congratulations to Eclipsing Tides for securing that 2nd seed out of Group B. For now, we are going to sign off, and we will see you next time for the playoffs in Titan Esports Divinity League.